greatest of all teachers and giver of love, hope, faith, and wisdom, look upon your children, the teachers, learners, parents, guardians, and out-of-school youth and adults. We humbly ask for your mercy and forgiveness. Guide us to the right path. May our efforts be blessed with insights and understanding, wisdom and respect for all. Bless us with patience, for the path of learning is never easy. Bless our commitment to keep on learning new knowledge and experiences. Let your light shine upon us as we make our world a better place to live in. Amen.
Magandang araw! April Marcas po, ang inyong pretty ate sa EdTech Unit. Alam ba ninyo na may webinar o online training session ng EdTech Unit tuwing Sabado? Ang araw na ito ay nakalaan para sa ating mga mahal na kaguruan upang turuan sila ng mga bagong kaalaman at kakayahan sa paggamit ng makabagong software at applications para sa pinaka-epektibong paraan at lubos mapagpusay ang kanilang paraan ng pagtuturo. This is also a refresher session for our beloved teachers to enhance their skills in technology. Every Saturday, we will conduct webinar sessions for teachers about the use, advantages, and relevance of different blended learning software applications. Ang webinar seryeng ito ay magsisimula ng alas 9 ng umaga hanggang alas 12 ng tanghali para sa morning session. Magsisimula naman ng alauna at magtatapos ng alas 4 ng hapon ang afternoon session. You can watch us in our DepEd EdTech Unit Facebook page, Educational Technology Unit YouTube channel, DepEd Tayo, and DepEd Philippines. Kita-kits tayo tuwing Sabado!
Cognizant to the needs of our learners, parents, and teachers, the Department of Education provided us with powerful tools for productivity that will allow us to foster critical thinking skills, problem-solving skills, communication and collaboration skills to be compassionate, responsible global citizens. Join us and discover new ideas in our series of professional development training program with the ICTS-EdTech Unit and Microsoft Education Philippines. Together, we will equip our learners and empower our fellow educators for a dynamic future. Para sa bata, para sa bayan, at para sa guro. Sulong Edukalidad.
Ayan, and we are live! Kamusta po kayo? Isang maingay at jam-packed na Saturday morning sa ating lahat. Again, it is your Tech Talk host, Ms. Zari. And since naniniwala ako kay John Donne na no man or woman is an island, gusto ko pong tawagin or gusto ko pong i-introduce sa inyong lahat ang aking partner for this session para samahan akong magpahayag ng magandang balita sa inyong lahat. She is no other than Miss Mardy Quaresma. Dito ba siya? Yan. Miss Mardy Quaresma or dito kam. Hello po, Teacher Mardy.
Hello, good morning, Ms. Zari, at good morning po sa inyong lahat. Grabe, ang tagal ko nang hindi nakakabalik sa ating Tech Talk session. So, maraming salamat dahil nakabalik ako dito. And kamusta naman po ang buhay-buhay dyan? It has been a while. Ang tagal-tagal na talaga nating hindi nakita. Naninibago ako dahil grabe, ang dami na naman po nating mga bumabati dito sa ating chatbox. Pero bago po natin sila batiin, Teacher Zari, gusto ko lang po rin sabihin sa inyo kung ano ang ating main topic for today's session. So for today's session, hulaan mo. Kaya mo bang hulaan, Ms. Zari?
Clue. Clue, Miss Mardy.
Clue. Future.
Future. Family.
Pinag-iisipan na yun ngayon ng mga kabataan natin.
Pinag-iisipan ng kabataan ngayon. Internet ba to? Na online ba to?
Meron siyang connection sa online. Dahil kaya ka nga nag-online learning at nag-online classes para ma-achieve mo in the future.
Job. career.
Ayan, tama ka dyan, Miss Zari. Nakuha mo ang ating keyword for today. For today, ayan, naka-flash na po sa ating screen, bridging the careers of today towards tomorrow. O, di ba, mga big,
Wow.
big words. Bridging the careers of today
Today
towards
towards
tomorrow.
tomorrow. Alright. Parang napaka-futuristic ata na ating topic for today, Teacher Mardy. Ayan. So,
Oo, talaga.
So mukhang isang iba na naman yung discussion natin for today. Parang last time, ang diniscuss natin is all about, help me with this, Miss Mardi, yung brain cells ko, medyo tulog pa ata, kulang pa yung kape na ininom ko.
Sige. Napanood ko yan, Miss Zari, no last week kasi napakaganda nga at ang dami kong nabasa dun sa comment section. It's about yung
Alright.
social and emotional learning. Si Miss Catherine at saka si Miss
And si Miss
Tandok, si Miss
Tandok.
Elegado. O yan. Di
And
ba?
I
Parang,
heard si Teacher Tandok is one of your teacher before, right? Teacher Mardi, if I'm not mistaken.
prof ko siya nung college. Kaya, sobrang
Mm-mm.
tagal na po ng panahon.
Wag na natin alamin kung anong
Ang
panahon yun,
natin
Teacher
nila eh.
Mardy. Anyway,
Mm-mm.
so for you viewers, syempre, don't forget our hashtag TechTalk sa ating comment box, okay? And hello, good morning again to our educators and our viewers all over the world. Kahit kayo ay nanonood na ng ating recording, don't be shy. You can still type in our chat box, hashtag TechTalks. And with that, Teacher Mardy, can we greet our viewers na nandiyan na sa ating comment box? Simulan natin with Teacher Joanne Astucia Alberto Hakhalne. Good morning, watching from Manuel L. Quezon Elementary School, followed by another good morning greeting from Teacher Vanessa Carla Hermosa. Ayan. And we also have a teacher from DepEd Bustos District, which is si Teacher Normita Labao, watching from Malamig Elementary School naman siya. How about from your end, Teacher Mardy? Sino-sino mga teachers you have there?
Eto, meron ako nakikita, sabi ni Teacher Christine Bacordo. Good morning po, watching from Celestino de Guzman, SASHS Barugo 1 District Leyte Division. Good morning po. Meron din kay Teacher Evangeline Diola. Good morning po from Kalangay Elementary School, San Nicolas, Batangas. Ayan, good morning kay Teacher Arnel Dumo. Good morning, watching from La Union, ma'am. Uy, La Union.
La Union.
At ito,
Parang
meron
gusto ko
din.
doon pumunta.
Oo, ito pa, kapwa taga La Union din. Si Teacher Marilu Morta. Good morning po, watching from the Mortis Elementary School. Hashtag TechTalks. Ayan, patuloy niyo
Ayan.
lang po gamitin ng ating hashtag TechTalks.
So,
Uy,
ayan, ang
meron
dami
dito,
na nila.
Teacher
Yes,
Zari, may good morning sa atin. Si Teacher Meds M. Santos. Hello po, Teacher Mardy and Miss Zari. Excited na po me for today's session. Alam niyo po, excited din kami for today's session. Di ba, Miss Zari?
Totoo yan, Teacher Med. So, excited na us, excited na you, excited na everyone. So, sana meron din tayo mga students dito ngayon na nanonood kasi sabi ko sa inyo, hindi ako nagjo-joke. At talagang meron sila matututunan, na meron sila mati-take away, na pwede nila maging makonsider when taking their career path in the near future. Lalo na yung mga graduating students natin dyan. And not because we are in this kind of isolation situation. Tama ba yung sinabi ko? But yeah, that's what I meant. Kahit na ganito yung sitwasyon natin, meron at marami pa rin tayo makikitang opportunity after we graduate. Kaya kayo, pagbutihan nyo ang pag-aaral nyo kahit nasa online learning. Mahirap yan, pero it doesn't mean na hindi kayo pwedeng matuto equally kung nasa face-to-face tayo. Anyway, hindi rin ako magtatagal. Mukhang babalik na tayo sa face-to-face setup. Manalangin lang tayo. Tama no, Teacher Mardy?
Tama. Kapit lang po tayo mga teacher. So, dahil po sa sinabi ni Ms. Zari kanina, gusto ko lang po din sabihin sa inyo, kung may mga students kayo na sa tingin nyo talagang magbe-benefit para sa ating session na ito, i-message nyo po sila or sabihin nyo na panoorin nila ito as team replay para talagang, dahil yung mga speakers natin for today ay marami silang ma-share para sa kanilang pag-consider kung ano ba yung gagawin nilang mga careers for tomorrow. Lalong-lalo na sa sobrang bilis ng usad ng ating panahon ngayon,
totoo.
at mas dumadami na po talaga yung mga specialized jobs natin na dati wala namang mga data analysts, mga ganyan, mga data engineering, mga software engineering na major in ganyan. Pero ngayon sobrang dami na nila, sobrang specific. So itong ating topic for today talagang very timely siya, lalong-lalo na ngayon, 'di ba, pandemic, ang daming lahat napunta sa online. So mas
Totoo.
maraming careers, mas marami pa talaga yung mga nagbabago sa panahon natin. So para ito, maganda po talaga 'to para sa mga students, hindi lang po sa mga graduating, lalong-lalo na sa mga senior high school, junior high school, lalo na kapag iniisip nila, ano bang track ang dapat kong gawin? Ano bang track ang gusto ko for my university years para sa mga susunod ko pang gagawin, 'di
Mhm.
ba, no?
Yes, tama yan. Kasi sobrang dami rin minsan ng option, nahihirapan na tayong mag-isip kung ano yung ipipick natin, ano yung gusto nating kunin. Kasi lahat naman talaga ng strand ngayon sa education are really interesting and are really amazing, wonderful. Marami silang opportunities na pwedeng i-offer sa ating mga future graduates na mag-work para sa ating ekonomiya, 'di ba? So, okay. So there you go.
Alam mo,
So,
Miss Zari,
yes po,
ano yan?
Teacher Mardy. Sige,
Wala
mauna
lang,
ka na.
bigla ko lang naisip. Para kasi 'di ba nagtatanong tayo ng mga jobs, 'di ba
Mhm,
natin? Para
mhm.
lang, share naman kayo diyan sa ating mga nanonood kung nung student kayo, paano niyo na-consider na maging teacher or
Oo
yung
nga,
career
'no.
path na ginagawa niyo ngayon? Bakit ko nagustuhan naging science teacher, naging preschool teacher, or it's by choice or it's by force, 'di ba?
Parang gusto ko atang i-share yung aking side, Teacher Mardy.
Oh,
Habang
sige,
naghihintay
mauna
tayo
ka
sa
na.
mga sa mga i-share ng ating educators diyan. I'm pretty sure it's equally interesting, no? Pero habang naghihintay kami, share ko rin yung akin. Syempre, hindi ako papakabog. Joke. Hindi, di ba? Ako kasi, Teacher Mardy, before, hindi talaga ako educator. I took a specialized, a course. It's a technical course po, which is Food and Service Management in Marikina Polytechnic College. Hello po sa mga naging teacher ko. I'm here na po ngayon. So, then after that, parang nakita ko, natutunan ko na lang na parang fulfilling pala yung makakapag-share ka ng learning sa mga bata, tapos yung makikita mo yung progress nila, parang nakakataba ng puso. Yun yung taba na gusto mo talagang i-keep, 'di ba? So parang dun nag-click sa akin, ay gusto kong i-take tong education field. So talagang hindi ko siya initial na choice, eh. So, I think by fate yung akin, char. By fate. How about you, Teacher Mardy? Isa kang expert, isa kang experienced preschool teacher. How about you, teacher? Is it by force? Is it by choice? By fate? By whatever?
By choice and by circumstance, I chose. Hindi. Kasi kaya ako pinili maging preschool teacher kasi nung papili na ako ng course ko for college, kasi siyempre
Mhm.
wala pang K-12 nun, 'no.
Oo.
So, meron akong mga pamangkin na bata. So, parang nung pinapanood talaga 'no, kasi siyempre medyo ano pa lang, mga teens pa lang din naman ako nun. So, 'pag pinapanood ko sila parang, ano ang ginagawa nila? Hindi ko sila naiintindihan, pero gusto ko silang maintindihan. Para parang
Mhm.
gusto ko hindi lang makipaglaro, pero paano sila nag-e-express nung mga thoughts and ideas nila. Kaya ako naging preschool teacher dahil talaga sa mga pamangkin ko, para mas
Ay,
maintindihan ko silang lalo.
para talaga
Ayan,
feeling ko parang natural sa iyo na malapit sa mga bata, 'no, yung puso mo, Teacher Mardy. Ayan, so
oo.
meron na tayong mga sharer. Teacher Mardy, would you like to read them for our viewers?
Sige. Eto, one from Teacher Roland Bernabe. Good morning po, watching from Gabriela Silang ES. Ako, hindi talaga education ang gusto ko. Ang parents ko lang ang may gusto na maging teacher ako kasi yun ang dreams nila.
Oh, so it
Ay.
is by force, Teacher Roland. Pero I'm pretty sure, nung nagtuturo ka na, nalaman mo na ang sarap pala maging teacher. I'm pretty sure of that. And also, I have one here, Teacher Mardy, no? From Teacher Lori Comendador, Austriaco. Sabi niya, my choice. By choice daw siya. Kasi
Ay,
pangarap ko na talaga, pangarap ko na, maliit pa lang, nais na maging guro. Because I really admired teachers. Ka-admire naman talaga ang mga teachers. Walang makaka, ano dyan, makakatalo talaga sa ginagawa ng mga educators araw-araw. Diyos ko, sa isang classroom, 40, 50 students at a time. Wow,
Ay,
that's a big
eto,
responsibility.
ito ulit kay Teacher Meds M. Santos kasi napukaw yung mata ko eh.
Oh,
Na-focus
sige.
talaga ako. Proud preschool teacher nakalagay
Ah.
dun sa last line niya, no? So,
Nakarelate.
automatic na nakita ng mga mata ko. #TechTalks. Bata pa lang po laro na namin, teacher-teacheran talaga. Ay, ako din po. Yung sa wall pa nung bahay namin,
Oo.
papagalitan nga ako eh. Kasi sulat-sulat, di ba? Very fulfilling po na makapag-share ng learnings through play. Proud preschool teacher here. Agree na agree, Teacher Meds. Play is the way to go. O, di ba?
Totoo. At meron din isa dito, I think parehas kami, ni Teacher Lala. Sabi naman niya, ako po siguro not by force, not by choice, but by faith. So kahit anong gawin natin, saan tayo pumunta, no, Teacher Lala, talagang doon at doon ang punta natin kasi it is fated to be educator. It is fated for us to be educators. Oh, we have one here from Teacher Nora. #TechTalks. Ako, gusto ko talaga maging guro simula nung bata pa ako. So we are born, you are born, Teacher Nora, to be an educator. Ayan. So napakadami. Sige, keep on sharing your stories, teachers, and we would love to know and read them for everyone to hear yung inyong mga story dyan. Ayan. O, ito naman, kaiba. Registered nurse, third high school teacher po ako. O, di ba, doble-doble na si Teacher Maria Catherine Carmen. Hindi lang siya nakaka-help sa health, sa ating physical health. Also, ngayon, nagtuturo na rin siya para naman punan yung education ng kanilang learners. Alright. How about you, Teacher Mardy? Is there anything else that I missed?
Eto, meron tayo dito. Eto, napakaganda nung sinabi niya. By Teacher Marilu Morta. Actually, totoo po yung sabi nilang pag di kaya sa ibang kurso dahil mahal ang tuition, then ang nasabi ko na lang, ay sige, mag-eduk na lang ako. Then as I went through the years and finally graduated na, I realized being a teacher is a noble profession. Then, na-feel ko po yung worth ko when I taught in a Korean school. Then, finally, convinced myself na mas kailangan ako as public. So, now, I am proud to say na teacher ako. Ayan.
Parang
Nakaka-sarap.
nagkaroon akong goosebumps. Parang napaka-genuine ng sharing ni Teacher Marilu talaga. Salamat po, Teacher Marilu, for sharing that to us. All right, Teacher Mardy. So I think we are ready to officially open our session for today. So, meron po ata kayong papakilala, Teacher Mardy?
Yes. So, para i-welcome po tayong lahat para sa session na ito na Bridging the Careers of Today Towards Tomorrow, let us call one of our partners in Microsoft. So, he is the Enterprise Channel Manager for Education, and he consistently supports the development of the educational technology industry. May we call Mr. Paulo Balinas at bigyan po natin siya ng virtual clap. Mr. Paulo, please.
Good morning po, sir.
Good morning, Teacher Mardy. Good morning, Teacher Zari. First of all, thank you so much for inviting me here. And of course, welcome sa lahat ng mga viewers natin today. Thank you, DepEd, for helping us organize this. And I'm very excited to talk about our current topic for today, which is really bridging the careers of today towards tomorrow. So I think napaka-relevant ng topic natin today on how we can really bridge the skills gap between anong hinahanap ng industriya tsaka anong tinuturo natin sa schools, right? So whenever in Microsoft, I get to talk to a lot of teachers, a lot of school leaders. And the common question I have is, what's the right software to use? What's the right tools to use for them to adapt to this new normal, right? Whenever I'm asked that question, I don't simply answer by giving the software that Microsoft has to offer, because I truly believe that in order for you to become future ready, for you to become well adapted to our new normal, it takes more than simply choosing the right software. So Microsoft has what we call the Education Transformation Framework, wherein we discuss, apart from the software, we also look at the school's leadership's buy-in, policies in place towards digital transformation. Do they have the right cybersecurity in place to prevent cybersecurity threats? Do they have the right devices? And finally, do they have modern teaching and learning? Which is very important in our world today, because studies show wherein an interview was done between employers as well as school leaders, wherein the survey asked school leaders first, do you think that your graduates are equipped with the right skills to be to able to fill job vacancies, to have the skills to actually succeed in our current workforce, right? 91% of school leaders said, and very confidently, that we have the right skill sets, our students have the right skill sets to fill the work requirements. However, yung same question tinanong sa mga business leaders, majority answered that they disagreed. They felt that a lot of students had a lot of gaps in terms of what they were looking for in terms of qualifications. Hence, they needed to upskill and reskill them. No? So Microsoft recognizes this importance na napaka-importante with the vast changing technologies. It disrupted various industries. And there also needs to be a parallel investment in skills and development. What's interesting about this is, yung sinabi ni Teacher Mardy and Teacher Zari, wherein years back, hindi natin narinig yung mga jobs like data scientists, data analysts, AI specialists, etc., right? The World Economic Forum actually projects that 65% of our jobs in the future have not yet been created yet. Because of that, it's not about preparing students or teachers with, towards a specific job role or function. It's more of equipping them with the right skills, with the right competencies, so that they can succeed in the future. And I truly believe that we've moved away from, we've moved away from a hiring process wherein we gave high premium in terms of which school that you came from. Now, as working for Microsoft and dealing with a lot of corporations as well, I've seen companies shift to more of a skills-based economy, wherein rather than simply look at the school that you graduated from, they actually give high importance in terms of, do you have the right skills? Do you have the right competencies? And certifications can actually help in that area. So, over the past few years, we've witnessed a change, rapid disruption in the education industry. Kung dati, we were prepared to, study 4 years of college, and that would determine our future career path. But tulad ng sabi kanina, di ba? Wherein we took up a different college degree and ended up in a different role, in a different job. And that's because, there's a rapid disruption in various industries. And, we're moving away from a 4-year college degree to a multi-year lifelong learning journey. So it does not necessarily mean when you graduate from college, learning stops, right? Even as teachers, as educators, as professionals, there's always a need to constantly improve ourselves, constantly upskill ourselves, so that we'll be able to quickly adjust to our current new normal. So with that, I'm very, very excited for today's event. We have a lot of great content, a lot of great speakers. We'll learn about the different trends, the tips on choosing the right career path, and of course, how can students and teachers prepare for our future workforce, right? So with that, from Microsoft, good morning, everyone. Thank you, everyone, for listening in. I really believe in the roles of educators, teachers, because you have a powerful role. You have the capacity to actually influence and mold the future leaders of tomorrow. So with that, I always go back to the education mission of Microsoft, which is to empower each and every teacher and student to create the world of tomorrow. With that, maraming salamat, and I look forward to listening to this event. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Sir Paolo Balinos, for your opening remarks. And for sure, talagang nakuha na natin ang interest at lalong na thrilled ang ating mga viewers for today. Tama yung sinabi ni Sir Paulo. Marami napaka-interesting nung mga speakers natin for today. Ayan, so Teacher Mardy, habang nagto-talk si Sir Paulo, meron dito mga teachers na nag-share ng kanilang uh, mga experiences. Sabi dito ni Teacher Maria Lourdes Campolio, sabi niya, "Me, I love Microsoft. It is so user-friendly and stable." Tapos dinugtungan at followed by a comment from Teacher Dodong Abuzo. Sabi naman niya, "I really enjoy using MS Teams whenever conducting online LAC, meeting at saka virtual meet-up ng mga students. There are many important features na magandang gamitin kaysa other platform daw." So sabi niya, salamat po Microsoft at DepEd sa pag-provide ng account sa mga teachers at students. Ayan.
Ayan. Maraming salamat po sa pag-share ng inyong mga insights, ng inyong mga stories. Patuloy nyo lang pong i-share yan sa ating chat box.
Please.
Hindi lang po para sa amin, pero para po makapag-inspire tayo sa bawat isa. So, this is a community of learners. Lahat po tayo, sabi nga, di ba, ni Sir Paulo, maganda yung sinabi niya, lifelong learning. So, hindi lang po tayo about sa mga kwento ng mga speakers, pero sa mga kwento ng bawat isa sa atin ay matututo po tayo at marami tayong mapupulot na inspirasyon. At dahil dyan, Miss Zari, Teacher Zari, feeling
Yes
ko
po.
ready ka nang ipakilala ang ating first speaker for today.
Okay, Teacher Mardy. So, for our first speaker for today. All right, so let us see our screen. Ayan. Are we sharing our screen already? Wait lang.
Or gusto mo ba ako na? Anong sa tingin mo, Miss Zari? Miss Zari? Ayan. Okay. Habang inaantay lang po natin si Miss Zari na makabalik, gusto ko lang po ulit magbasa dito ng good morning po sa ating mga manonood galing sa Quezon City, galing sa Cagayan Valley, at po sa San Carlos City. Good morning po sa inyong lahat at patuloy po kayong manood. Sit back, relax, dyan lang po kayo, wag po kayong mawawala dahil magsisimula na po ang ating session for today. So, para po sa ating unang speaker, madami na siyang nakuha na awards tulad ng Thought Leader in Digital Talent by LinkedIn at sa kanyang leadership of Viventis. Ito po ay isang leading human capital solutions company in Southeast Asia. And ito po ay na-recognize as Asia's most promising small-medium enterprise given by the Asia Corporate Excellence and Sustainability Awards. He is a valued top corporate recruiter and industry game changer. And with his team, they were able to reshape and transform the Philippine HR industry by providing in-depth holistic and innovative career services that connect top companies to the best talents. Let's all welcome Mr. Hugh Min Chin, or we can just call him Mr. YM, the founder and executive director of Viventis Search Asia. Mr. YM, please.
Thank you. Thank you. It's my pleasure to be here. It's my most profound honor to speak to the master crafter of our future generation, and even on a very short notice of the invite, I really felt it is a very important occasion for me to share my perspective, how we can bring and prepare our future generation. I'm given a very important task today to speak about a very long topic, how to support the next generation in choosing a possible career path. I would like to ask my cohort on the other side to share my screen. Is my screen shared already? To my first slide. All right. So that's my first slide. That's my team slide. And we can now move on to the introductory slide, quoting Abraham Lincoln. So to my next slide. quoting Abraham Lincoln, whom I believe still stands in a very impeccable stage in guiding the world, who is very divided today in a very unusual, strange environment where there's a huge wealth divide, there is a skin divide or color of the skin divide, and all kind of divide, including health divide and how vaccine is being apportioned between the have and the have not. But here he says something that I think all teachers should know and must put in their vocation. The best way to predict the future is to create it. Okay, understand this very well. The best way to predict the future is to create it, and you has the power to enable the future of your students, and that is a very big responsibility that the society, the world impose on all teachers that that will lead the next generation. And to my next slide, I wanted to jump straight into how people set their career stage. Okay, career stage and preparation. Previously, it follows what we call a stage like linear process from college, from grade school to college. You get your first job, you wait very long for your promotion, and you're starting getting closer to your dream job, and then you settle in retirement. But in today, to my next slide, how it become as what the course, as our previous Microsoft gentleman was saying. Can I move to my next slide? The now aspect. You see, career development has become non-linear. It become like a doodle, like the doodle that teachers will do, children will do in the classroom, whiteboard or paper. Right? You can finish high school, you can skip college, you can go to post-secondary program, you can change program, and then you can go back and finish program. You can even, as my slide show, you can even work part-time, change job, go back to school, and then change career, change industry specialization. I've seen people, for example, and I'm sure due to the limited time, one of the things that was not shared about my background is I actually spent 12 years in education before putting up Viventis. So I spent like 12 years in University of Asia and the Pacific, and then I have deep understanding of how education, the scholastic development, and all of that. And I always tell my first job has been about bringing people their first job, and my current company and my current vocation is to help people to get their next job. And I've seen drastic decision changes across. I've mentored a very famous president right now, happened to be the husband of Mayor Joel Belmonte, top in his school in Ateneo, went to PGH because he wanted to pursue a medical career, and he was actually majoring in a major program. He wanted to shift career when he was in third year in his med school, and I told him, why don't you just finish your med school? You can change your career after that. All right. And then he moved. He went to multimedia. Then he went to e-commerce. Now he runs Lazada, and people might say that he's a lesser half, but I think he's the great significant half of Mayor Joy Belmonte. And this is how career has been shaped. It's really like a doodling of life and career. Then to my next slide, we need to study what forms the influences in one's career. We can flash out the various perspective here, right? First, you talk about interests, personality type, okay? Because personality type is important. Are you outgoing? Are you more reserved? I don't like to use introverted, extroverted, right? Those are very passé description. Your past experience is very important. Life roles is very important. What you do in your life become very important. Of course, core to everything is skill, abilities, and talent. And you talk about education, changing job market, right? Suddenly, all the whole industry of hospitality disrupted. Correct. There are very little job in the hotel and restaurant. How do you shift, right? Okay. Technological disruption is very important because in any job, in any profession, there is a set of technical competency and tools that go with it. And likewise, it's also important to look at what are the emerging opportunities and social and economic conditions. Basically, summarize three things: inclination, aptitude, and environment. So in inclination, we'll look at interests and maybe a bit of personality type, your prior experience. And then the second half will be your aptitude, like your skill, your ability, your talent, a bit about your education and life role. And then environment is changing job market, changes in technology, emerging opportunity. Some time ago, big demand for healthcare nurses. Some time ago, demand, in fact, very attracting to all of you, right? English teacher teaching abroad, correct? And in major Asian country, even Singapore, Malaysia, and of course in China. But now it has been challenged, right? Now you can have distant education. You can actually book yourself freelance, e-lance type of work in teaching English, right? So that's the key influences on one's career, and which you as teacher need to understand as well. Now to my next slide, this is going to be important. Who are the people who will play an influence in one's career, the career of your student and career of the children as well? You have teachers, very important, right? Teachers for me is the most important institution. Okay, and there is no doubt why you're called faculty, right? Correct. Faculty also intentionally focus on the development of one capabilities, right? So you prepare them in terms of soft, hard skill, and of course you need to be knowledgeable enough to know what is happening in the world. I mean, today the world is very transparent. The world, the widest reach of internet and the web and Facebook, basically, or social media in general, enable you to see what is happening, what is the most interesting career. Today, the most important catchphrase in career is creator. Okay, content creator. Everyone can become a content creator of sorts. And of course, you as teacher need to transform yourself as not just teacher, but career advisor as well. The next one will be parents, right? It's so important. I've never seen parents not involved in children's career, and they are very involved in the choices of school. They are very involved in the choices of college, and the expectation is they want to get the best job for them, correct? And they prepare them very well. And nowadays there are more of them involved in homeschooling and all that, and it's going to be very important. Lastly, no doubt, next to it, the most important of all, the student themselves, right? And this is going to be very, very important. I believe in building building or instilling in them. They need to prepare themselves at a very early stage. And I know you ask them very onset in grade 1 and what have you, right? What do you want to become? A doctor, a nurse, a lawyer, and pilot, correct? You hear that, and then on certain day they are being asked to dress up or in costume day, what career they want to be. Even that is even in preparatory school, and because that is a sense of preparing the future for them. I think it's very important to also have them understand how important that they own it, and therefore they need to understand the importance of them playing a role in their self-development. And in education, more than in any place today, in the tech world more today, there is no pure gauge of success, right? I think in the world of learning, we are being graded all the time, okay? But we need to change that notions more significantly. We need to tell people, hey, in this new world that we are in, we are going through a transformation. There's a lot of experimenting happening. So you need to understand the notion of fail of failing is temporary. So in fact, I have a principle here. When you fail, fail fast. Then you learn and you unlearn. Okay, and then you fail fast, learn and unlearn until you get to an understanding of mastery. All right. So that's how important how we reshape it, because there's no dogma about failing. There's no dogma of what can change, because as you can see very clearly, even the dead agent of virus is mutating as well. Correct. So the understanding of adaptability, agility become very important. To my next slide, this is going to be very important in the discussion of how we need to mold our students, how we need to mold ourselves in understanding the challenges that is happening in our teaching career. So there are basically two, okay? I try to simplify it in this way because we doesn't need to go into a very philosophical propounding of the idea, right? So first, focus on elevating core capabilities and building skill. Skill is what people practice to get work done. That's the professional side. But very important is your core capability. And the core capability is vital, that will take you from when you are able to reason to your first job. And that set of core capability is a lifelong asset that enable you to move up, move across, build your career to the future. Let me go to the discuss about elevating core capabilities, going essentially to what it is all about. To my next slide. Okay. So we all understand very well, okay, the core capability is built around the 3 R's, right? Reading, writing, and arithmetic, right? But in deep essence of it, right, we talk about that, we are very famous, right, in inventing catchphrase today, right? So the most essential aspect is building and shaping reasoning power with writing, reading, and arithmetic, right? And today, this is being bring to the next level, okay? It's not being challenged. It's not giving you problem or headache or difficulty. It is now taking what the technology can help you. First, you look at it, if we look at the computers, what I call the binary skills, right? Okay, 0, 1, 0, 1. If you look at it, it's so basic, right? 0, 0, 1, and it come up with PARC supercomputer. It's to build computational thinking and literacy. So that is where maybe both arithmetic will go heavily, right? Then the tech cognitive capability is going to be very important, because today you look at children, right? Young children. I taught in school. I live in a multi-generation family. I have not that I have babies, right? I have nephew and nieces that have very young kids. They are all very well schooled in a very multimedia, multi-sensory environment. So talk about gadget, talk about iPad, talk about smart tablet. They are all learning from there. So that is where the tech cognitive capability need to be strengthened, and how the typical classroom learning that is also preparing in the same way need to be enhanced. Don't think you'll be limited by that. Okay, don't think you'll be challenged by that. There is always a solution to that. Okay, and for a fact, they are leading education leaders that say the future of education is classroomless. You don't need the classroom, which I always tend to disagree. Learning is a communal learning, correct? Of course, communal learning can happen in a family, but communal learning is much more important when you have a group of students, group of people learning together, and that ability to exchange idea become very important. And that's why that's never going to change, right? Okay, let me move to my next slide, right? On elevating core capabilities after sharing what core capability is all about, right? First, we need to look at what the impact. Can I have the first box? So you look at distant learning today. I decided to use distant learning, not online learning, because distant learning is the old standard word that has been used, right? Today, distant learning is more like online learning. And this has become the way of presence and likely the hybrid future. And there are challenges, right? Of course, no internet access, but we need to be very creative. It's not necessarily through the communication medium, but you can also look at how radio frequency, television can enable learning. The creative power lies with you and the school to make sure learning happen. No matter if you go back to the Stone Age, people still learn. Correct. With stones, hardwood to carve and teach. So we shouldn't be deterred. There's nothing that can prevent you to extend real education. Of course, we need to look at how the edutech side, like the next box, please. So accelerating the edutech, right? This is where in education have to be integrated with technology. I think national institution from DepEd, Chat should really spend so much time, because the future of our next generation really depends on this. I'll tell you, all nations across the globe are putting so much effort in it. Okay, they know if we don't get them prepared, changing the way classroom is managed, changing the way curriculum is managed, changing the way the delivery is managed, our student will get left behind. So this is going to be very important. I think it's going to be very important to accelerate edutech in this country in a very important way. I would think like even a small country, and I know for a fact that they spend more on educational budget on a national level than maybe other priorities. And last but not the least, really, this is going to be very important when we talk about how to bridge the gap in the educational system, right? There is challenges in all aspects, right? We need to talk about online safety. We need to ensure I see the pain last school year, how the asynchronous teaching impacted the mental development of students, right? 8 hours straight on the screen, on the tablet, the teachers lecturing, and I can see the loss of attention almost in the less in the first 10 to 20 minutes. How you can need to break the tedium of the environment, how you can be more Google in your way of, or not Google, I mean Google, Microsoft, and what have you, in the way you and images that you can teach, right? Okay. And then you need to, more importantly, this is the most important. The last point is the need for cultural capital to increase tech adoption. I don't think it's not about investment or monetary capital. It's cultural capital. We all, whether you disagree with me, and you're more likely to agree with me, we are all TikTok generation. Whether how old you are, how not so old you are, or how young you are, how very young you are, we are all TikTok generation, right? Correct. Then let's move to my next slide. I thought of sharing some development, like very, very few, so that you get an understanding, right? Okay, how this is going to be important. In Singapore, they in order to enable that multi-sensory core capability development, they actually use robot to help somebody who now know how to build the constructive pieces around engineering. So they use a robotic setup. It can be as mechanical as you can imagine, right? Then the other part is, which you today know, right? I mean, everyone, I'm sure your kids or you yourself will have been playing a lot of online game for Fortnite, Valorant, and what have you. The world today is a what it has been enriched. The pandemic has brought augmented reality, virtual reality to a different level, right? So we need to be creative. I mean, I'm sure there are enough VR, AR type of capability platform and tool that can enable you to to reach out to the student and enable a creative participation and what have you. And you yourself, right? I remember this Cebuana teacher, right? It's a perfect we are sensational, like when she start to sing all the Elsa song in different pitches as a way to get attention and what have you, right? And of course, you have to also include the curriculum management, the learning process, which tend to be too great, intensive, what have you. But here, there's a better way to understand. Okay, using in Singapore, they use a Genie book to understand, to measure performance. For the first time in a country that is so rigorous in examination, they are preparing to remove examination in their grade school education. They realize that's not the way. And then going back to my principle, the failing aspect that is so dogmatic in school have to be removed, correct? And they realize it. They realize career preparation, learning preparation, life preparation have to be as individualized as possible. So that's going to be very important, right? People learn in different paces, right? Okay. And I remember back in my school year when I was, let's say, how many years ago, like I would think like 35 to 40 years ago. I remember this word of my professor or my teacher in my high school telling me, there is no stupid student among you. Okay, there is no stupid student among you. Because that's very important for us to understand how to really use AI and automation at work for learning. Now let me go to the important part, the other half from core capabilities. Let's go to building skill. To my next slide. This also was shared to me to the first speaker earlier. So what are the top skills, so to say? We call it top skill, but I would rather call it building skill, right? So essentially, it is not like rocket sciences type, right? It boils down to very, very essential skill. Okay, going back to the word essential again, right? Okay, in fact, linking divided into two: arithmetic and social skill. I call it arithmetic or numeracy and essential skill. So here you look at most of it is really 3 out of 4 is essential skill. First, problem solving. That goes from bottom to up. Basic reasoning, the 3 R's, building up from, then going up to creativity, originality, and initiative, because that's very important. Then you're not thinking about critical thinking, right? In today's pandemic problem that you see, some certain people look at a one solution for all. It shouldn't be. There should be much more critical thinking, right? Correct. And also learn from the other country quickly, right? So, and therefore, it will elevate to what I call, using that example, need to look at it as a complex problem solving. Correct. It is a epistemology problem. Okay. Correct. So next, self-management. You talk about it, right? In school, that is very, very demanding, right? You go to a regimental schedule. You need to be so tidy. You need to be so neat. It's all about self-management. People, you need to instill in the student. This is all about self-management. Start with time management. And very important, right? In some school in US and in Singapore, they now started to instill resiliency, okay, the toughness in people. Because, like it or not, our younger generation and our future generation can be softy because the environment is so provided. And on providential basis, the COVID happened, okay, and there must be a providential reason for it. But mankind is now growing together and understanding what resiliency is all about. Okay, active learning and learning strategy become very important, right? People need to understand their mental faculty can be used equally good at learning and not on games, correct? And of course, classroom environment enable people to learn from one another, student to learn. So you have to be social interaction, listening and communicating. And of course, you ask the student to recite. And then, of course, leading to the last part, why you have association, you have extracurricular activity. It's all about preparing leadership and social influence, right? A very, very big company, in fact, one of the biggest consumer company, okay, required three things in their entrance application, okay? Strong scholastic performance must have been a cum laude in at least one, or a score of not necessarily cum laude, have at least top a subject in the all 4 years or 3 years. Second, pass their entrance exam in the company. And last, very important, must have led a solid, take on a solid association leadership role. Okay, and last but not the least, on the technology side, this is going to be very important, right? Start with binary and logic, correct? Okay, that's very important, right? Teach people to have gadget tactility. And we ourselves, I'm sure you all are familiar. I don't think anyone in this discussion will not have gadget tactility. But that's important to emphasize, because in the remote environment, they may not have touched a laptop, they may not have touched something. So gadget tactility will become very important. And then look at how technology design and programming, and of course, looking at the technology use monitoring in building skills. Now to my next slide, which was commented quite significantly by the first speaker earlier, is this is going to be what it is, right? So core capability, I said, is going to be so essential. Look at this number, right? It's really threatening, because the world and progress and advancement is moving at light speed. You will see new material sciences happening. You see new energy form. You see new way of doing things, new way of eating, healthy way of eating. So we become very important, and this is stressed by World Economic Forum, one of the biggest thought leaders globally, right? So 50% needs reskilling, and then another 40% look at another higher risking. And then time to reskill is very demanding. Okay, 1 to 2 months, 3 to 6 months, 4 to 5 months. So where do you get all this adaptability and agility? If going back to your core capability, correct? And the drive within someone, correct? Now, with that, let's move to the next slide, looking at what are the most in-demand career. Like it or not, it is all digital related, right? I just pick it up from our work, from more recently published job posting. In spite of the pandemic, where we have lost millions of jobs here and abroad, the demand is here related to digital work. And sometimes they even call it remote work. So related to digital marketing, they have user interface design, they have healthcare career, they are a lot related to data, okay, and supply chain career, because the problem of today in the delivery of the vaccine is a supply chain problem, correct? Okay. Now let me look into, from that demand specific jobs, right? Let's look into a more future perspective in my next slide. What will be the careers of the future? Okay. The careers of the future, I see, will build a lot around the 3 R's, okay? And the way you teach them to grasp it. A lot of them have to be dealing with data analytic. I think the single non-technical, non-tech related, even though it's very tech in essence, but it's really mathematical in origin, is data analytic and data scientist. I'll throw you a very important, I'll share with you a very important example. I was told not to quote the name of companies. This is one of the biggest global company, and it has very big operation in China with over like $3 billion revenue. And there was a board meeting, the chief information officer was presenting it. This is the footprint, this is how we will bring our product to the remotest of possible consumer. So, and one of the wise board member was asked, your problem can simply be resolved by hiring 2 or 3 data scientists into your organization. And you can get the insight, you can see the insight, okay, and what people really need, on how you can address the demand. So it's going to be very important to understand it, right? Big data, data analytics, digital marketing. Of course, the whole world today is run by what I call a broken, conjoined, automated environment. So you need to look at, you need to people who have very good, the typical career in college is industrial engineer, right? So they look at process automation, okay? Okay, and of course, people who are into security, software development, and Internet of Things, right? Every gadget today can be amplified with the power of internets, right? So Internet of Things can go from electricity to even water to even aircon, right? For example, this big air condition company can have an app to tell the problems of their aircon being anticipated, and service can be easily rendered before you run out of freon and what have you, or your filter is dirty, right? And this very hot summer, right? But the power of that app also can tell you and tell tell associated industry, including power and internet, that spot tell you, oh, there is power failure, because the app can actually show you, and then the thing, and then the reach of the internet capacity could be shared to tell you. So that's power of the technology in information, what I call crowdsourcing, so to speak, right? Now to my last few slide, to my next slide, right? What do we need to do, right? What do we really can do? So there are two ways of addressing the problem. To my first box, short term, right? I think short term is all about, like, in alignment with my topic, right? Short term is all about addressing the most in-demand skill, right? I think the quickest way, and just like what Microsoft have done, how I partner with Microsoft in UNP back then, is to create the industry academic partnership right away, because that will immediately provide the necessary foundational developmental platform for you to learn. And of course, very immediately next to it is early career reskilling. You talk about the slide that I share, 50%. So I always tell people when I was giving career placement talk, when you go out in the world, the obsolescence rate is so high. Okay, think of that. So be prepared. Okay, the most important skill and asset you can bring to the world is what you have learned in school about time management. That's the most important thing. Get things done on time. So early career skill, very important. In Singapore, they set up a whole institution called Future Skill, and they provide $500 every year for every citizen to go for skill upgrade. Okay. It's something like our Tesla should be doing it, or maybe other institutions should look into it, because it's going to be very important. Okay, the ADB presented a very powerful study that there is a challenge of a crisis of low skill capability in the country that need to be resolved. Okay, low skill crisis. Okay. And next is long term, right? I think institution, school, you yourself being a very powerful group, right? Okay, you have a big voice in determining the future of not just student, but also the society, and therefore the power of voice. Perhaps not being political in election, right? You need to push for an overhaul of basic education and learning infrastructure. It got to be given highest priority. And second part is, you play a much more important role here. That there should be a very significant change in the pedagogical way of teaching, correct? Because it's going to be different, right? How do you compete with people learning from YouTube and what have you, correct? So then you need to find a integrated, blended way of making it holistic, multi-sensory, imaginative, and creative, right? Okay, we cannot live in the segregated world. As I said it, Your student are TikTok generation. You are TikTok generation. Your principal are TikTok generation. Be one with another as TikTok, right? There could be other form in the future, right? And of course, lastly, chat must refocus in lifelong learning. So it boils down to that lifelong learning. Okay, it should tell people, hey, your learning start when you were born, and your learning will not end when you reach your final moment of life, right? Correct. And even that we all learn, right? How much the aging people like me have to learn in this pandemic, right? What we shouldn't do, what we can do, okay, and what have you, right? And I'd like to move into my last two slides, so to speak, right? Checklist in how to future-proof one career path, right? Here you go. Okay, if I'm putting this slide, I'm sharing this slide with you. Be prepared to upskill and reskill. Okay, it doesn't take much. It start with our belief. Okay, our desire, our willingness. Okay, that's the most important. Not. Can I go back to the slide, please? And on a personal level, invest in all things that is possible related to automation and digital capability and human potential, right? Correct. As basic as that. And then if there is an ability for you to share in a school, right? This is more on an environment. Build a learning around an AI-based solution. Talk to Microsoft. I'm sure they have plenty of solution, okay, to share that can be done, in this area, from Office 365 and what have you, right? There are plenty of things that they can share. And of course, as I mentioned, we need to be very adaptable, live and embrace the RJ persona, correct? Okay. It's not the pretensive perspective, but true. You need to be true about it. Okay. It's not about even catching up, because you are not just educator, you are also change agent, correct? Because of your role as educator. Lastly, but not the least, strengthen your cognitive mastery. As a teacher, I think you are given proper faculty development time, because you are not just purely a teaching teacher, but you are a learning and teaching teacher, correct? That's very important. You impart knowledge that is always growing, correct? Okay, and of course that leads to what I call self-driven learning, right? Because this new environment requirement that, right? Okay, get from Microsoft LinkedIn Learning, right? I'm sure they'll be more than happy to do that for you, right? And look at whatever technology you know can be used to change your work as a teacher in teaching and administrating. And lastly, going back to my pinnacle principle, like fail fast, learn and innovate, right? Fail fast and learn and innovate, correct? Okay. There's no mistake, right? I know you're standing in front of the class, okay, but no, there's nothing to fear in this new world that we are going in through, in spite of the pandemic, right? Then to my simple advice to my next slide, that basically a shout out. Okay, this is what you need to do, right? New renaissance, right? You start looking at civilization staging over the century of living. Okay, you have the Stone Age, you have the agricultural age, you have the farming age, then you have the industrial age, then you have the automation age, right? Today, everything go back to you, the new renaissance career. So before you talk about, if you look at all of that, it went to a very specialized environment. In industrial age, you have the assembly line, everyone have a dedicated job, and this is what you do, this is what part you put in. But today it's going back because of the power of technology. So you need to own and charter your own career. A teacher, by far, for me, is one of the highest vocation in the world of civilization. Okay, doctor, teacher are very important. Of course, parenting as well. And okay. Okay, and your role in the Latin phrase, if I remember correctly, is ex ducere, lifting out, lifting up of ignorance, lifting up of the unknown. Can you imagine that responsibility? Okay, that power, that creative power that God vested in us as the agent uh, of learning and teacher, right? So believe in your capability and find time for learning. You need to do that. And of course, it might be sounding like a broken record, like learn, unlearn, and relearn. Learn from everything. And as teacher more than anyone else, shout out, right? Has a sense of life and a career mission, right? It's not a drudgery. I bring my bag of homework that I just check. I have a clunky desktop. Okay, I have limited salary. No, you think about your career mission. You're bigger than anyone else. You impact your class. You impact a school. You impact the future generation. And let me close by quoting in the next slide. Like, let me close by quoting my next slide. Okay. Stephen Covey said this very importantly, right? Your power to choose your direction of your life allows you to reinvent yourself, to change your future, and to powerfully influence the rest of creation. Okay, this says so much for what I've been invited to say, and my team helped me to put together the slide, and this topic is so close to my heart, and I want to thank you for hearing me out. Okay, be the power to influence the whole world of creation and change the future, change your future, and reinvent yourself. On that note, I close my slide. You can show the last slide, which is basically the closing slide. Thank you so much.
Yes, hi Sir YM. Thank you very much for being with us this morning. And our viewers would also like to say thank you to you. We have here from teacher Maria Lourdes Rosario. She said, "Thank you Sir YM, a brilliant presentation about career, well explained, a great help for us teachers to direct our students in the right path." And also she appreciates the webinar because she said she already has a topic for her
Yeah.
homeroom guidance lesson this coming Monday. So it's all thanks to you, Sir YM, for sharing with us your expertise and your thoughts about the rapid growth of how careers are evolving for the future.
Indeed, your expert sharing was appreciated, Mr. Y. And we are pretty much sure that this information you just shared is really useful for our educators who are really guiding their students in choosing their career pathways in their for their future rather. All right. So
Miss Zari, can I share one more comment? Because this one is another thank
sure.
you to Sir YM. So this one is from teacher Marian Lu Morta. She said, "Thank you, Sir Yu Ming Chin, for this sharing. Indeed, nowadays we still and always ought to prioritize the future of our learners by imparting the need to a better career path. But of course, teachers must be more equipped with the right and upgraded skills like the use of technology and the heart that is also ready to parent these learners for a better future. Thank you so much, sir."
And also, Teacher Ruth says, "Thank you very much for a brilliant discussion of the topic presented." And also, Teacher Lina Maiso says, "Listening to you, Sir YM, makes me realize that there are still a lot to learn." Thank you so much. They are indeed grateful for your discussion for today, Mr. YM.
So there's a lot of thank you and appreciation for you being with us this morning and for sharing with us all the insights about career growth. So Ms. Zari, I think you have a question for Sir YM.
Yes, I do have one here, sir. Um, from one of our educators. She asked, "You talk about core capabilities, capabilities. How did you cope up with your own problems when you were building your career in your own experience, sir?"
Um, I think everyone uh, uh, has his own journey, right? And in my case, uh, it is the constant self-reflection, okay, and looking at what I can do better, how I can be more effective, and understanding uh, uh, the gap with all humility. So that self-reflection with humility will be very important. Uh, no matter how successful you think you are, no matter how proven you are, there's always room for improvement. Uh, and secondly, uh, the tough situation, the hardship of life, the challenge of life, enable me to see how important to continue to improve, and to more important, what I would like to highlight is to pay it forward. Okay, to pay it forward, because I think that's the most essential thing of what we need to do today.
All right, thank you, Sir Ryan, for that sharing. All right, so I think Miss Marty also have another question for you.
Okay, so Sir YM, we also got this question from our one of our participants. He is asking, what can you recommend to senior high school teachers to help grade 12 graduates secure a possible job opportunity?
I guess one of the bigger objective in the implementation of the K-12 curriculum was to enable uh, uh, enable a larger uh, workforce to enter the job market. And to my understanding, even until recently, there's a big question, like an inverted question of a sort, right? If the K-12 graduates are ready uh, for the real world environment, right? Okay, so there has been a constant debate if they are in fact employable. Okay, the employability of the K-12 graduates has been one of the biggest debate that have surfaced from in the recent year until the whole pandemic have overtaken every single important topic in life, right? The employability of K-12 is critical, a single most critical challenge that need to be addressed. And I think creating first choices of career become very important. What is the program of the K-12 of the school will enable to? Okay, so at that first level is what I call industrial job matching with the K-12 program need to be done. It has to be done. So what are the opportunity that can be best fulfilled by a K-12 graduate? In fact, that has never been fully mapped out. Okay, okay, that leave a lot of challenges, because we know for a fact, and sadly as a fact, the dropout rates from K-12 to college is very high. Okay, so that is something that we need to address. So finding the choices and mapping the uh, vocation jobs that can be best fulfilled by the K-12 graduate will be important, right? Then supplemented by a very tight uh, uh, post K-12 training program. Okay, it can happen. I mean, I tell you, at the K-12 graduate level, I think you can become uh, a full stack developer. You can become a multimedia designer. Okay, but of course you need to know their capability and their readiness to learn. And some of these training programs that I've seen are available, and because of this pandemic, all the training program today are built online, right? You have the like of Coursera and Udemy, LinkedIn Learning, and what have you. They can learn. And I'm even tell you there's a tech venture in the Philippines called Avion. Okay, learn now, pay later. Okay, learn now, pay later. Okay, they win-win invested by US venture fund called Y Combinator. So meaning that you can take up a a course that finish about 6 months to 9 months, okay, then you can start to pay back 2 years after you finish. Okay, so that's possible, right? So first, matching uh, opportunity with the skills of the kid. You have a thorough mapping of that, and then building very short term bridging program, and of course, last but not the least, make sure lesser dropout. Right? Correct.
Mhm. Okay. So thank you, Mr. YM, for that very insightful answer to our question. Ms. Ari?
Yes. Yep. So what marked to me was Mr. YM says about the industry matching jobs, if I'm not mistaken. That's what you said, right? So I'm pretty sure that in our education, it is already being placed, and I'm pretty sure that through this discussion, I'm pretty sure that we actually helped our educators and even our learners to consider things that if what the courses or the strands that they will be taking is actually in line with what the skills that they have. I actually find one comment here from our teacher says, my sons love the discussion and it seems like that they are already figuring out what career pathway they must choose from this discussion. So they already been enlightened with what we have discussed today. So one by one, we are really effective. Mr. YM, your discussion is really effective for our learners. With that, to extend our gratitude, we would love to award you with your certificate. So, with this being said, we would love to call on Sir Madge to award the certificate for Mr. YM. Sir Madge?
Hello, Mr. YM, and in behalf of our EdTech unit of Department of Education, we'd like to extend our sincerest appreciation for your uh, talk. And I know that there are a lot of things that we need to, as upon reflection, we need to a lot of do introspection about the courses, about the even as teachers reflect how we're going to be more effective, how we're going to utilize this tech, how we're going to empower our teachers as one of the arm of the DepEd in educational technology. So thank you so much. So I'll be awarding the certificate. Let me read the citation. Department of Republika ng Pilipinas, Department of Education, Information and Communications Technology Services, DepEd Complex, Meralco Avenue, Pasig City. Award the Certificate of Appreciation. This certificate is presented to Yu Ming Chin, the Executive Director of Diventis Search Asia, for sharing his valuable knowledge as guest speaker during our Tech Talks for All Days, entitled Bridging the Careers of Today Towards Tomorrow, webinar conducted by the ICTS Educational Technology Unit on the 15th of May 2021. Given this 15th day of May 2021 in DepEd Central Office, Meralco Avenue, Pasig City, Philippines, with the OUA memo number of 00-0421-0136, signed by our head of ICTS-EdTech Unit, Mr. Mark Anthony CC, our Director 4 for ICTS, Abram YC Abanil, and our Undersecretary for Administration, Mr. Alain Del B. Pasqua. So thank you so much, Mr. Yu Ming Chin, Mr. YM, for your sharing, for your talk, and we really appreciate you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much. My pleasure to be here. Okay, thank you again. All right.
Thank you, Sir Y. And now let us move forward for our next part of our discussion. So, para sa ating pangalawang speaker, alright? Ngayong araw, siya ay isa sa mga produkto ng Asian Institute of Management kung saan niya nakuha ang kanyang Executive Master of Business Administration. Feeling ko, Miss Mardy, you are familiar with our next speaker. Being in the field of business for quite some time, our next speaker is indeed gained a wide experience in strategic management, business development, and data analytics. And also, na-involved din siya sa mga channel development in the information technology business. Kung saan naman nahasa niya ang kanyang skills in developing sales strategies, building business and training and developing sales team, isang solution specialist with strong professional skills in sales, business model innovation, and marketing strategy, and even cloud computing. Everyone, sitting ovation naman dyan na may kasamang virtual applause. Ayan. To share his take in the value of certification in validating specialized skills. The General Manager of Adventist Technologies, mapagmahal na ama at haligi na kanilang tahanan, ang isa sa boss namin ni Miss Mardy. Let us welcome Mr. Francis Hernandez. Sir Francis?
Yan. Sir Francis, medyo
Come on in.
nagpa-surprise lang pa. Surprise!
Baka nag-ano pa, nagpa-freshen up. Yung glam
Ah.
team. Gano'n, nagpapaglam team si sir.
Oo, wait
Alright.
lang. Nagko-quote pa
So,
siguro or pinagpipilian pa kung quote or barong, ano
totoo.
ba?
So, habang hinihintay natin si sir, syempre wag natin kakalimutan yung mga nagpapa-hashtag TechTalks dyan at dun sa mga patuloy na nagpapainit ng ating comment box. Ayan. So, we have Teacher Marilyn Abendaño watching from Binanuanan, Pequeño, Elementary School, Calabanga East District. Ayan, so meron din dito nag-good morning still sila Teacher Rayson Asido, and we still have Teacher Estrella Candari. She's still watching and learning. That is good, Teacher Estrella. Napaka fruitful ng morning natin talaga ngayon, hindi ho ba? We also have here Teacher Raynel, Teacher Pau, which is still watching with us. Ayan, happy good morning then from Teacher Judea Sabrido. Okay. So meron pa dito, may pa-heart-heart pa si Teacher Rosalie de Ramas, 'di ba? So I think she's really into our discussion for this morning. Ayan. So also, si Teacher Jojo Buenaventura says, thank you very much, sir, for sharing your thoughts and ideas. Yan, mga pahabol na thank you greetings for Mr. YM. Okay, napaka-relevant ng discussion talaga natin ngayon para sa mga hinuhubog nating learners these days. Tama ba, Teacher Mardy?
Tama ka dyan, Miss Zari. Sabi nga, di ba kanina, parang sa opening remarks, sabi ni Mr. Paulo Balinas, yung about certification. So, eto na. Mas ma-enlighten tayo kung paano nga ba makakatulong yung certifications, yung micro-credentials para sa future jobs natin, para sa future job markets natin. Na ika nga sabi ni Sir, hindi pa nga yun nagagawa sa ngayon, pero in the next coming years, for sure, ay
sure.
lalabas na siya talaga. At yun na yung magiging
Yes.
mga bagong mahanap natin sa job street, mga bago natin makikita sa LinkedIn na hinahanap ng
Totoo.
iba't ibang
Totoo.
companies.
Ayan, kaya dapat tayong mga learners ngayon talagang hanggat bata pa kayo, hanggat nasa school pa kayo, just earn and earn skills lang. Magagamit niyo 'yan sa inyong pag-graduate, pag naghanap na kayo ng trabaho and all. Huwag niyo sabihin na hindi naman namin 'to magagamit in the future kasi ito gusto ko, ito ganyan. No, if you have the opportunity to learn a certain skill set, go ahead, lalo na kung libre naman at yan na yung tinuturo sa atin ng mga classroom teachers natin, hindi ba? So don't let any opportunity slip in your hands, kung lalo na kung nandiyan na. Okay, so ayan, may marami pa rin mga nag-good morning sa atin, Teacher Mardy. Ayan, si Teacher Day Sunny. Di ba? Ang ganda ng name. Good morning, watcher from SDO Caloocan. And we also have Teacher Maylen Camacho. Good morning po, watching from Los Baños, Laguna naman. And meron din dito from, I think, Luwag City is in Ilocos. Tama? So sabi niya, good morning everyone watching from Luwag City. Meron din dito, ayan, Teacher Mary Grace Perez Valenton watching from SDO San Jose City. O yan. At medyo malapit-lapit naman ito, no? Galing kay Teacher Michael Angelo. Good morning po. Siya naman ay watching from Batasan Hills National High School, SDO, Quezon City. And we also have here from Bicol. Ayan, kung saan nagmula ang aking mahal na ina. Good morning, everyone. Joining from Tabaco National High School, RO5 Bicol, SDO, Tabaco City.
Ayan.
Ayan.
I think, Sir Francis, tapos ka na po bang mag-coat and tie or magbarong dyan? Ready na po ba tayo para sa ating Value of Certification in Validating Specialized Skills? Sir Francis, once again.
Nag-aabang na ang ating educators kasi alam ko parang talagang interesting ito lalo na sa ating educator. Ayun na si Sir Francis. Hi, sir. Hello, sir. Good morning po.
Hello, Marty. Hey, Zari.
Yes.
Hi,
Hi,
everyone from
sir.
Hello.
DepEd. Good morning. Can you hear me? My apologies. My connection is really bad this morning, and I'm really trying my best to really connect. No, so again, good morning, everyone, and we welcome you all, and thank you for listening this morning, especially to our friends from Microsoft, Mr. Paulo Balinas, and our invited guest speaker for this morning, Mr. Yuming Chin from Viventis Search Asia. Even myself, I was actually learning from the talk earlier, like what Paulo had mentioned about the value of certification. I think he made couple of uh, bits of information. Then earlier with Sir YM is more of your career path, no, building your career path, how to do it, no. So now I'd like to focus on the discussion pertaining on the value of certification, and at the same time, how will it help your professional career, either for the teachers or for the educators that's watching now, or the students, the senior high school graduates, or maybe the college graduates in the next um, coming years, no. So can on my next slide, okay, so I'd like to focus on specific concepts this morning. Okay, so first I'd like to ask the audience, okay, you can use your chat box. So what comes into your mind when you hear the word certification? Okay, so let me repeat, what comes into your mind when you hear the word certification? Okay, so please type on our chat box or comment box, and place your what comes into your mind. It could be a single word, a brief statement. What is certification to you? Okay, so what comes into your mind when you hear the word certification? Okay, so maybe some of our participants would think, Francis, Sir Francis, I think certification is something that you get if you attend a webinar, right? Or Sir Francis, I think a certification is somehow that you will earn after maybe watching a series of video, okay? Or maybe attending a physical event, you sit there for 2 hours, at the end of the session, you will get what you call certification, okay? So again, to define what is certification and to give you a brief understanding what is really certification and how it can help your career is on my next slide. Certification basically is a credential that you earn, okay, an industry recognized business, or maybe it is issued either by the state, by the locality or municipality, or maybe the national level or the country. Like in our case in the Philippines, the co-equivalent of certification in some ways is your licensure exam, no, if you're familiar with the PRC license. Okay, so that's what you call, in some sense that is a form of certification. So it basically validates your level of skill set. On my next slide, it could be certification varies in different forms, no. So number one, it could be a form of an assessment, okay, or maybe a type of revalida, or maybe a type of an online exam, or a type of a physical licensure exam, so which means you go to the specific specific site and you answer specific questions in series of days. I think for our local board exam, some board exam, depending on your course, depending on your depending on your line of forte. For example, you're a licensed professional teacher. If you would do so for example, you graduated as a teacher, then an education graduate, you will take, I believe it's called LET, okay? Then after passing the examination, you will become a licensed professional teacher. Same goes with the nursing students. If they finish their degree in college, then they are qualified. No? They are qualified as long as you provide the requirements of PRC. You can take the national board certificate for nurses, no? And same goes with other profession. Okay. Now, on my next slide, okay, I have a question here. Okay, and maybe some of you are thinking also, Sir Francis, why is certification important? What can it do to my career? What it can do to my plans? And how can it help me build my reputation, my professional career, at the same time my learning path? No, does it have any connection to those things that I've mentioned? So, on my next slide, why is certification important? Okay. So number one, acquiring an industry certification helps student, either the student or professional or even alumni, to gain that essential skills such as critical thinking, problem solving, and prioritizing information. Now, in other field of expertise, sometimes it helps professionals develop their competency and skill set primarily for in the field of IT, like for myself, my background right now is an IT professional. So I immerse myself in different learning content and different certification program that is aligned to what I'm looking for. For example, I wanted to be more of into analytics. So I'm watching and I'm trying to learn a lot of things via online pertaining to analytics and data, no. But when I started my career way back, I actually started my career back in Microsoft with the help of our friends from Viventis Search Asia. So with that, after my application with Viventis Search Asia, I was able to work at Microsoft Philippines. And working at Microsoft Philippines, what I've seen, okay, back then when I was working in a corporate, what I've seen is that most professionals are building their credential. Okay, it's either they take online classes, they participate in certification programs, or they gain experience through the years, no. So, and based on my observation and based on what I've seen when it comes to the industry, okay, there are three main process that you need to understand. So on my next slide, so the three main process would be, it covers number one, learn, practice, and certify. Okay, so remember those process: learn, practice, certify. Okay, so those three main process is actually applicable to all aspects of learning and education. Okay, so on my next slide, so to put a better context when it comes to learn, practice, and certify process, so let's put it in a scenario of a student. Okay, learn, so you go to school and you study for X number of years. So that is what you call learn. Then practice, so the part where the student practice the things that they've learned during their academic years is through work immersion, internship, or maybe OJT, on the job training. Okay. Then lastly, what is the certificate or the certify process? The certify process, it could be either in a form of revalida, okay, or an assessment exam that happens during our finals. Remember, during our finals, no, especially when you were in a student, whether in senior high school or in college, you have your final exam. So that is a form of certify. Then at the end of the program, after you graduate, you will earn what you call a diploma. You will get a diploma, then you have a degree. Okay, so then let's set another example. No, so on a context of an educator and a teacher. No, on my next slide. So, following the same principle and process, learn, practice, and certify for a teacher context. So, learn, you study for X number of years for your education. For practice, you tend to do internship or OJT in different school to deliver your to deliver or to exercise no the things that you've learned during the academic years. Then the certify is in which you are taking what you call LET or LET, no, licensure or local board exam, licensure for educators. No, so you get to take the board exam. So again, they follow the same principle. Now, on my next slide, I'd like to highlight for working professionals. So these are the people who are currently working in the industry. Either you're a teacher, an educator, a professional, or IT, or any professional that maybe doesn't go through PRC. Because again, you can be considered a professional. We need to remove that notion of you only are considered a professional if you were able to pass a what you call a licensure exam or a board exam. In reality, whether you're a board passer or not, no, because some courses in the Philippines they don't have any board exams. So for those professional that doesn't have any board exam, like from our end in the field of IT, we typically have that So they follow the same principle. Learn. Typically, we enroll ourselves online, okay? Either in Coursera, it could be LinkedIn Learning, or any other platform online in which we enroll ourselves. So in that scenario, we use any other platform online in which to immerse base exams. So these practice based exams are taken also online or could be physical, in which we try to mimic the examination environment. No, now the certify, this is an online assessment that can be done anywhere, okay, or sometimes, especially pre-pandemic, it's being held in testing centers across the Philippines, or it could be done, especially now pandemic, what you call examination from home. So there's what you call examination from home. So in that scenario, so it's like doing a proctor online watching you while you take the examination to ensure that no cheating is happening at the same time. You are solely doing the examination alone. So no one is coaching you in the process. So that's why you have an online proctor. Okay. So now, I'd like to make some clarification and put some definition when it comes to certification and at the same time diploma. Sometimes kasi the diploma and certification, they tend to be compared to each other, but in reality, they are really different from each other, and there's um there's a process in taking both, no. So on my next slide, okay, so you will see there diploma and certification. So on your right would be certification, on your left would be diploma. Okay. So what's the main difference? Diploma, you will get this through your academic years. So after finishing your academic years, whether in senior high school, basic education, or even in college, you will earn what you call diploma. Okay. Now, after your academic years, no, after getting yourself enrolled in maybe in college or maybe in senior high school, after those academic years, you can take a program pertaining to certification. Okay, so you are typically it's being taken by practice after finishing your either senior high school or college. But some schools are trying to integrate certification within the academic years of the student. But again, it varies. Second, in terms of duration, diploma takes more time because again through academic years, for college typically it's 4 years or even 5 years or even 6 years. Now for other courses it even takes up to 10 years, no. But in terms of certification, it takes lesser time. No, with certification, you can finish it in 2 weeks' time, in 3 weeks' time, or even a month's time. Okay. Then for diploma, it's a completion of study. Okay, so it gives you a proof of completion of the study program. So for example, you're an engineer, so you will earn you earn a degree, and you will receive what you call diploma that validates or gives a proof that you really completed the program. Okay, so that is diploma. For certification, it's more of a validation of a specific skill set. So it pertains on the skill set. Okay, so don't mix it. Again, diploma, it's more of a completion of the study program. Okay, for certification, it's a validation of your skills. So later I'll be citing some examples. Okay. Now, on my next slide, okay, I'd like to throw in another question. Okay, so please, you can use our chat box or our comment box. No, how many graduates do we have on a yearly basis based on our current um, educational system? Both maybe senior high school or maybe including college. But typically, these are college and technical vocational courses. No, so maybe some of you are thinking we are producing maybe 100,000 graduates or maybe 200,000 graduates. Okay, so on my next slide, the number of graduates that we have on a yearly basis, but again, it varies, no? Especially now it's pandemic. We are having around between 1.2 to 1.3 million graduates every year. This is a primarily combination of college and at the same time technical vocational graduates. No? So now on my next slide, my question is, now if all grade 12 or even college graduate earns a diploma, okay, so the question is, what sets you apart? Okay, what sets you apart among the graduates? So imagine out of the 1+ million, okay, what sets you apart? So for particularly for employers, if one employer would want to hire you, it's kind of challenging to really look for specific candidates because number one, all of them they have diploma, especially those people who were able to graduate their degree, no, or finish their degree, so they have a diploma. So the challenging part is how do we help? Okay, on my next slide, how do we actually help employers to give a better understanding or to match that right fit? Yung kaninang nabanggit ni Mr. Paulo Balinas is yung tinatawag na job matching, no? Coming from the academe and then transferring to the enterprise or corporate, no? So the question is, how do we help employers decide that you are the right fit, no? So I think this is really relevant for our upcoming graduates in the next coming months, no? So again, to give some context, no, what you can do is to either earn a or build a skill set or have that technical competency. Okay, again, earn that skill set or build that technical competency. Now, I'll teach you a process. Again, this process is a process more of I've witnessed in the industry, and I myself, I follow this process as well that could potentially help our upcoming graduates this year. Okay, so what are the steps? Okay, so first on my next slide, okay, so after finishing maybe senior high school or college is check for the available opportunity. No, because at the end of the day, it's not something that you finish college, then you step out of the classroom, then the job opportunity comes into you. No, it doesn't work that way. You need to look for the available job opportunity. Now, how do you make it happen? Either you check online, okay? And there are plenty of websites out there. You can go to jobstreet.com, you can go to JobsDB, or you can even go to the website of Viventis Search Asia, okay? Now, looking at on those websites, there are numerous job opportunities posted on those websites, okay? So, numerous number of job opportunity, okay? So, that's the step one. You need to look for that job opportunity that you want to be with at the same time that is maybe the job role that you are dreaming of, no, possibly. Okay, so check for the possible job opportunity. Okay, step number 2, on my next slide, build the competency. Okay, build the competency. So earlier, check for the job opportunity. Step number 2, build the competency. Now, how do you build the competency? There are plenty of online websites that you can actually check. Some of them are paid, some of them are free. Okay, so you have LinkedIn Learning, that's one example. You also have Coursera, you also have Udemy, and with Microsoft, you can also check Microsoft Learn. Okay, so you can build your competency by checking this website and look for the available skill set that you would want to build. Okay, so you need to predefine and check the available skills that you would want to build in the next coming months and years. No, so check for this specific website. Again, there are numerous number of websites, but these are the recommended websites that I know of. And maybe you can search as well in different search engine, and you just type in learning content online. Okay, so you can type that keywords, and you can actually either sign up for free or sign up using your maybe personal credit card or maybe your parents credit card, no, if they will allow you. Okay, the third step is on my next slide would be show your ability. Okay, show your ability. So let me repeat. Number 1, check for the opportunity. Number 2, build competency. And number 3, show your ability. No, how do you show your ability? There are plenty of websites that you can work as a part-time. No? Why am I encouraging you to work as part-time? Even if you are a student, or even if you finished your degree in college, or maybe in your senior high school days, try to look for available websites to showcase your ability. Why? Because these are real life scenario in which you can showcase your skill set. Kasi earlier, it's more of building your skill set. Now, this time around, you need to show your skill set. So you can work part-time in different company for minor projects. Then that minor project can help build your credential. Okay, so you need to build your portfolio. Jobs today, it's not something that you try to apply for a company, then what's stated there is where you graduate. To be honest, where you graduate right now is not that important. What's important, I mean, it plays some factor. I'm not saying there's no sense in graduating like in good schools. What I'm saying is employers are looking into it, but that's just a smaller percentage. The biggest percentage is your portfolio. What can you do to my company? Okay, what can you offer to my company? So with your credential, for example, you have competency. I've seen in like in these websites, in for example in Upwork. Same goes with People Per Hour and Fiverr. In these sets of company, you can work part-time online, and you can have numerous numbers of project. For example, you will see their project like they're asking for someone to develop website. So that could be one of your project, or maybe create a corporate presentation like a PowerPoint presentation. You can have those kinds of project, and you are being paid in dollars. No, so that's the beauty of it. You earn at the same time you are building your portfolio. Okay, so that's step number 3. Now on my next slide, step number 4. Okay, proof of capabilities. Okay, so let me repeat. Number 1, look for job opportunity or look for that opportunity. Number 2 is build your competency. Okay, 3 is show your ability, and number 4, proof of capabilities. So what do I mean by proof of capabilities? So you can take different programs online. Okay, so these are certification programs that you can take to at least validate your skill set. Okay, what do I mean? For example, you are in a job interview. It's hard, or even if it's kind of difficult to let your employer know that you are good at something. Because stating that you are like for example, this is common, no, especially to those applications that I've read numerous times, and same goes with during my corporate days. Whenever I see like a fresh grad, they put their competent in Microsoft Word, right? Or familiar with Windows operating system, okay? Or knowledgeable in Microsoft Excel, okay? Actually, those statement doesn't quantify your skill set. It doesn't have any means to measure your level of skill set. But these programs that you are seeing right now in front of your screen, like Microsoft Office Specialist, Microsoft Certified Educator, now communication, or I think English proficiency examination like IELTS, some would go to TOEFL. So depende on your preference. So these are the some of the proof of capabilities that you can take to highlight your capability. Because again, at the end of the day, you can always claim you're good at something, but at the end of the day, your employers would want to see where you are good at and what's the level of your competency. They need to understand what level, because in different programs, like for example, in the field of IT, there's a competency like level 100, level 200, level 300. And in some cases, those levels of competency can actually be connected to your salary grade. Okay? So there's actually a salary grade matching your competency. So that's how employers are looking into your credential. No? So it's not something that salary is being just like random. You just think of a salary, then randomly it falls onto your table. No, that's not the case. So salary is based on, number one, competency, at the same time experience and background. Okay, so it's a combination of different mix of expertise. But again, as mentioned, you need to build it. Okay. Now, on my next slide, okay, I'd like to showcase, because again, this is I'm a product of Microsoft certification programs. That's why I really advocate these kinds of program. But again, you can check other programs as well. Okay, so this is not something enclosed to Microsoft alone, but it's nice to check. Why? Okay, so number one, you can go to Microsoft Learn. So it's a free website, okay, that anyone can access, whether you're a professional, whether you're an educator. So you can check Microsoft Learn, okay, go to that portal. Then on my next slide, you can select different competencies that you would want to build. Okay, so for example, you're an IT teacher, okay, or maybe you're an IT professional, then you would want to build your competency on these types of skill set. So it is split into two. Okay, there's what you call a fundamental type of examination. So that's the basic. Typically, these are the level 900 exam. Then on the other side, there's what you call role-based certification programs. This is specific to your niche. For example, when we talk about cloud, that could be the fundamental certification. But if you would want to be specific, no, to your role, like you could be an Azure administrator, you could be a Power Platform user. So again, those are the role-based certification programs. So typically, you start with the fundamental, building on the role-based certification program as you progress. No, it's like a promotion. You start first as an employee, then eventually you want to be a manager and a supervisor. Same goes with certification program. You can start with the fundamental, the most basic and essential competency that you can build, then moving to your role-based certification program. So that's how it works. On my next slide, in the field of certification, there are numerous number of certification program that you can check. Okay, so if you are a developer, there's a specific program for developers. If you're a data engineer, there's a specific program for data engineers. This is not something that you go to that portal and you randomly pick or get a specific program for yourself. No, so this is something that you need to think of. Try to create a pathway, okay, for yourself. pathway, this is more of a roadmap for yourself, no? So for example, on your first year, this is what you need to learn. On your second year, this is what you need to learn. On the fifth year, this is what you need to learn. So you need to set goals, you need to set objectives, and you need to create a roadmap for yourself. So para hindi po malito yung inyong career progression, okay? And para hindi kayo ma-derail when it comes to your career progression, okay? Then on my next slide, okay, on my next slide, so for example, you chose to work on Microsoft certification program. There are actually different building blocks that you can take and consider if you would want to build your career, okay? Why? Because number one, in building your career, it's not something that you think overnight. Then I want to take, as you do, as mentioned, look for the job opportunity. Okay, so you need to follow the steps. Look for that job opportunity. Once you were able to define the job opportunity that you wanna to be part of, number two is you need to build the competency. So you go to this kinds of website, build that competency. It could be Microsoft, it could be Coursera, or it could be LinkedIn Learning. So there are numerous number of sites out there that you can check. Number three is immerse yourself with showcasing your ability, and that would be Upwork, that could be Fiverr, and or that could be different websites for maybe freelance, no, or maybe part-time work. So for the meantime, you can do that while building your portfolio while you are a student, no, whether a senior high school student or even a college student. Okay. Then lastly, try to invest in certification, because again, certification comes with a cost. Okay, again, the cost might vary depending on the complexity of the program that you would want to enroll yourself. Then upon taking that certification, once you've finished, you get a certificate. Then now you can apply to that company, and you already have built your credential. I'm not saying don't apply in any company if you don't have certification. Don't get me wrong. What I'm saying is at least you have a good fighting chance, no? Because again, in every job role, in every job opportunity, it's not something that one job role and I mean 10 applicants will be hired immediately. No, that's not the case. So like for example, if you want to work in Microsoft Philippines, sometimes there's one specific job role in Microsoft Philippines and there are numerous number of applicants for that job opportunity. Okay, so for you to able to secure yourself for that job opportunity, so you need to build your competency so that employers could at least number one, recognize your resume, okay, or your resume or your credential, and number two, for you to be at least have that fighting edge, no, or at least that value proposition that employers would want to look into. Okay, and on my next slide, okay, on my next slide, so showcasing here on my next slide is, so after taking maybe an examination pertaining to certification. So I have here a copy of a certificate. So this is more of a soft copy of your certificate if you were able to pass the examination. So here in your screen, you will see the Microsoft Office Specialist. So this could be you're good at Excel. Okay, you could be good at PowerPoint. You could be good at in Word, or you can have a different certification program as well, and you will earn what you call a certificate. Okay, so you need to invest in your credential. Okay, because again, investing in your credential, you can never go wrong, no, when it comes to your investment with your credential. Why? Because number one, the certificate that you are getting is a digital badge or a digital certificate that can be connected to your Facebook account or can be connected to your LinkedIn account. Preferably, I suggest LinkedIn. Please create your LinkedIn account as early as now as a student, build your portfolio, and update your LinkedIn accounts, no? Then upon updating your LinkedIn account, if you took numerous number of certification program, you can actually connect your badges to your LinkedIn account. So employers, if they would want to check your credential, they can see your badges and certificate, and they can at least validate whether your certificate's legitimate or not, no? So it can be done by simply looking at your certificate, because there's a certificate number at the bottom part of your certificate. Typically, it's seen in the lower left corner of your certificate. There's actually a either a QR code or an alphanumeric code that any employers can just type it online in specific websites to validate whether you really passed the examination or not. No, so that's a form of like check and balance, especially for employers. Particularly if your employers are from overseas, they would want to really validate that. Now, on my last slide, okay, so I have here a quotation, okay, a quote coming from Benjamin Franklin, no. Because again, certification, it's a form of education, no, but in a shorter period of time. Okay, so according to Benjamin Franklin, okay, an investment in education always pays the highest returns, no. So again, with that, I thank you for listening this morning, and I do hope I was able to impart knowledge when it comes to certification, its value, and the step by step that you can take, especially for our upcoming graduates this academic school year. And I do hope I was able to encourage teacher to guide their student as they progress after their academic years. Okay, so with that, thank you.
Ayan. Thank you very much, Sir Francis. Ang dami pong mga active comments po dito sa ating comment section. Yan. So, share ko lang din po. Sabi po nila na ating mga teachers, simula natin kay Teacher Jen, ang certification daw po serves as a proof of what you have learned or will, um, sorry, I lost it. Service of proof that you have learned or skilled you have improved. Followed by Teacher Lilian naman, certification is a credential given to show you have a specific skill. And then from Teacher Joseph Pines naman, certification is an official document that I need for my professional growth. Diba? Daming
Correct,
mga
correct. Yeah.
mga comments, sir. Thank you po for sharing us your expertise. At I'm pretty sure po, nalinawan sila kung ano pa talaga yung importance talaga ng certification, lalo na for the future career opportunities na nag-aabang sa ating mga younger generation na ating mga
Correct,
students. Tama ba, Teacher Jen?
correct, correct.
Tama. At sir, dahil dyan, may mga questions kaming nakuha from our educators na nanonood ngayon. So sabi dito, which specific certifications should educators take to develop fundamental technology skills, and how about professionals from different fields?
Okay, okay. So if it's particular, again, to answer, no, I think the context here would be more of maybe a Microsoft certification, because that is what I'm familiar with, no. Maybe with other technologies, you can refer to other programs, but for Microsoft alone, for educators, you can take what you call Microsoft Certified Educator. So it's a program to basically showcase more of the integration of your academic competencies, at the same time your pedagogy through the use of technology. So it's more of a combination of your approach using technology. So that's how it works, the certification for MCE. You can check other programs. There are numerous number of programs out there, but this is what I know on the line of Microsoft, because I'm more of having those kinds of program in place, because again, that's the business that we run on a daily basis, and at least we can walk you through about the process if you want to know more. Yeah.
Alright. So how about naman, sir, so that is for the educators po na professional. How about naman daw
Correct.
po, which specific certification naman daw po should senior high school students take to develop naman fundamental technology skills? Baka may masuggest din kayo,
Okay,
sir.
okay. There's a certification that I know that you can take. It's called IC3. IC3. C, and 3. Okay, it's a digital literacy certification program that you can take online. Okay, it's very popular among senior high school and junior high school IC3 program. Okay, there's also a certification for if you want to build your productivity skills. You can also take maybe Microsoft certification program like MOS, no, Microsoft Office Specialist. So this is more of a validation of your competency when it comes to use of spreadsheet like Excel, or maybe presentation skills like PowerPoint, or maybe Access like database. So those are the programs that you can take as a fresh grad student for coming from senior high school. So
All right. Thank you so much, sir, for that. Ah, ngayon patuloy pa rin pong mga nagko-comment ang ating mga educators, sir. Ayan, so sabi pa dito ng isa, sabi ni Teacher Maria Lourdes, thank you daw. Thank you, sir, for the enlightenment of the importance of the certification to make ourselves more productive and competent in our chosen careers. 'Di ba, Teacher Mardy? Baka dyan, meron pang mga nagte-thank you kay sir.
At saka kanina may nag-agree din sa quote na shinare
okay,
mo, sir. Sabi
yeah,
niya, I love the quote. Makes a lot of sense. By teacher Lalan Naval
makes a
Esquivel.
lot of sense. Yeah, correct. And let me add this idea also, no, amongst our educators, and at the same time our fellow students who are maybe looking for maybe work in the IT industry. Okay, so in any event that you were able to finish a degree that is not connected to IT, you can still pursue your dream. No, there's no such thing as IT is intended for IT graduates alone. No? I myself, I didn't graduate in IT in the field of IT. My degree actually in college was nursing. You'll be surprised, no? I am
Mm.
actually a graduate of nursing. I finished my bachelor's degree in nursing. I took the board exam, passed the board exam, eventually worked as a psychiatric nurse. But eventually, I find myself really longing to be part of in an IT industry. So that is what I'm really aiming for. No, that's actually my dream to become an IT practitioner. That's really I felt like graduating as a nurse, it doesn't stop me. Okay, at least I finished my degree in college, but after that I took numerous number of programs, either physical examination or maybe online examination that I take in different testing centers across the Philippines, and I invested really in education. No, so having said that, if you invest really in education, you can never go wrong. No, you can never go wrong. And after that, I was able to work in a reputable IT company. Now, right now, I'm running also my own um, small IT company. No? So, having said, I think that could give us some enlightenment, especially to our sets of audience, to really inspire them na you are not limited to take a certification program because you are a nurse, or maybe you're a doctor, or maybe you're a physical therapist. No, so you also you just build that dream. Okay, um, align that opportunity towards your credential, and maybe somewhere out there companies will try to also consider your application if you would want to be part of their
Yes, totoo
company.
yan. So
Okay,
personally, ako din gano'n, sir, graduate din ako ng food and service, 'di ba? And then I took some certification
right,
din in
right,
MOS.
right.
Now I'm a Microsoft certified trainer. So if it happens to me, if
Yes,
it
correct.
happens to us, it can happen with you po. Maybe different situation or different circumstance, pero it is possible po. Through certification, maraming opportunity pa ang ma-offer sa atin yan. Even we already earned our bachelor's degree. Ayan, so Sir Francis, thank you very much. Sabi nga po ng ating mga teachers dito sa ating comment section, thank you Sir Francis for imparting us this informative talk. Sinasabi din po ni Teacher Jojo at Teacher Baimona, Thank you daw po talaga. At sabi naman ni Teacher Maria, nakaka-inspired naman ang life journey po ninyo, sir. Love it. Ayan, naka-inspire kayo, sir. Aside from the certification information that you have just shared with us. Thank you very much, Sir Francis, and we'll have you later again. Thank you po for your expert sharing.
Thank you.
All right. Teacher Marty, shall we proceed and move forward for our next speaker?
Yes, dahil nga sobra yung pagka-emphasize nung learn, unlearn, relearn para sa ating multi-year lifelong learning, tawagin na natin ang ating last speaker. She is already a familiar face. Nagbabalik po ang isa sa mga master trainer and academic specialist ng Audentes Technologies. She is a licensed professional teacher and her experiences include the Singapore Learning System, progressive curriculum, the Montessori method, and special education and communicative approach. Let's call Teacher Debbie to show us this week's Microsoft Digitools. Teacher Debbie.
Hello, good morning. Happy weekend, teachers. Hi, Teacher Marty. Hi, Teacher Zari.
Hello, good morning.
po.
Before we start, we just like to ask, ano po ba ang ating Digitools for this Saturday event?
Right, so for our Microsoft DigiTools for today, I will demonstrate some of the best practices, not all given the time. So squeeze in lang natin, but I will demonstrate MS Teams, Outlook, and PowerPoint that can help in any field of profession. Of course, in alignment with our talk about bridging the careers of today towards tomorrow.
Ay, gusto ko yan dahil talagang very useful yung mga tools na yan, lalong-lalo na ngayon sa ating situation. So, as
Right.
early as now, dapat na talaga nating i-continue ang pag-educate kung paano gamitin si Microsoft Teams, Outlook, and ano nga ulit yung isa, Teacher Debbie?
PowerPoint.
And PowerPoint. Okay, Teacher Debbie, take it away.
Okay, thank you, Teacher Marty. Thank you, Teacher Zari. I'll be sharing my screen now. Please let me know if you can also see it in your end. Can you see my screen? All good. Okay, so for the first part, I'll show Microsoft Teams and Outlook when we're using it together. So if you're using this Teams, Outlook at the same time, I'm sure a few tips. Please follow along. Given the time now, I have to do it in a quick phase, so bear with me again. And for the first part, I will add online meetings to all meetings. How are we going to do that? So for example, I'm setting up a meeting right now. I'm setting up a meeting with someone and we want to meet on Teams. Of course, it's pretty easy to insert Teams into any meeting. I can just go up here in Teams meeting to insert all the meeting details. But sometimes I forget to do that, or we forget to do that, and that's okay. Let Outlook remember for us. Here, I'll minimize this message. And I'm on my Outlook now. So open your Outlook and go to your calendar. Okay. Right click on the given time. You can choose to do so. Right now, I'm just going to demonstrate. Right click. Click on calendar options. And you'll see here, add online meeting to all meetings. Click on it. Click OK. And now that it has been settled within calendar options, let's create a new meeting. Okay. All right. So here you go. If you look at this, it automatically includes Teams meeting information. So we don't have to remember anymore. Lalo na pag masyado tayong busy and sunod-sunod yung projects or meetings natin in line for the day or for the month, then it's gonna be hard when somebody asks, where's the meeting details? When somebody pings you, nasa na. So when you do this, it automatically includes Teams meeting information and you don't have to worry about it. So where do you go? Again, calendar options and then click add all meetings. All right, so that's it for the first Teams and Outlook demonstration. Second, what else can we do? Let me close this now. Okay, you can drag and drop content from Outlook into Microsoft Teams. Let's have this example. Okay, so here I have an email from my colleague. Okay, let's see. Let's search for it. And here you go. I have an email from my colleague and my attachment siya. So it looks like I just received my certificate of appreciation from DepEd. And I want to make sure that the rest of my class, my students, knows about this to maybe have them watch the Tech Talk to get valuable insights. Because whenever we do this Tech Talks, we get a lot of insights from our speakers, and helpful yun, hindi lang sa educators, but for the students. So I'll take this attachment. Okay. Punta muna tayo sa Teams. So open the Teams that you want. For example, I have Homeroom. And then don't forget to click New Conversation before you drag and drop. Going back to Outlook Mail, take the attachment, drop the file here. Okay, and this will upload the message. And now I can share it with the channel, with my students. And what else? We can also drag and drop this attachment over here. So Files tab, when you go to General, and there's a File tab right here. I can also do that, okay, because this will place it into the Files view. Drag and drop. Okay, uploading. And there you go, we see it. So as an added tip, if you want to make sure everyone notices the file, here I can hover in the ellipsis, show actions, and I can pin it to top. Okay. Now, none of my students will miss that. None of the people you want to show it to will miss your posting or your file. So that's how you can drag and drop attachments from Microsoft Outlook to Microsoft Teams. Third, you can even, let me close my Teams, you can even check your email directly within Teams. Okay, how do we do that? Within Teams, click on the top tab icon. So for example, here, General. Okay. Sorry. Okay. Here we can click Add a tab. There. And go to the one called Website. For the tab name, I'll call it Website, because what we're going to do is connect Outlook email within Teams. And you can also search it. Then this will open a prompt. And for the tab name, I'll type, let's say, email. Easier to understand. And for the URL, type in outlook.office.com. Okay. And click Save. All right. When you're done with that, you'll see that the email tab is added within your channel, and your inbox, your Outlook email or inbox has been added. So whenever you're here on Teams, it will open up your inbox directly within Teams and making email more accessible because you really don't have to go to Outlook separately. Andito na siya. So keep in mind then that when anyone on your team comes in and clicks on email tab, this will bring them to their inbox, to their own inbox, okay? So that's it for a quick helpful features of Outlook and Teams when using it together. Let's move to the next part of this demo. We have here PowerPoint. All right. First, in this Microsoft PowerPoint demo, how do we improve slide design? Sometimes we really don't know what to put or how to design it, and it takes up so much time again. It's time consuming to think, especially if you're not really that creative, and that's okay. Not all of us are. So to design slides, click Home on top of the ribbon, and then over to the far right, you see Design Ideas. So click Design Ideas. Let's wait for it to load. And you'll see a whole bunch of designs here that you can choose from. So no worries, these are constantly evolving and getting better. So now I'll click on, okay, let's click on the first one to see how it works. So here it formats my slide in a much more aesthetically pleasing way. You can also use this. It's really neat, right? It's really neat when you see it like that. It's really neat, and I don't know if you noticed, but here in my text, it says society, community, and empowerment. Right? Going back to design ideas, when you see it, in a very smart way, design ideas help to identify what type of content should show up. So that's how design ideas help you create better slides. It matches kung ano yung nandun sa text, right? Second, we can record our screen or desktop using PowerPoint. Again, we can record our screen or desktop directly using PowerPoint. So to record our screen, go up to the top ribbon and all the way over to the right side under the insert ribbon, you'll see media. Choose screen recording. Okay. When you select that, it will drop me on my desktop. And I could select the area. I could select the area or the entire screen, which one I would like to record. So I'll just simply click on the entire screen, and then you see this record button. So just click on record. Then it shows me the shortcut key that I could press Windows logo Shift and Q to stop the recording. But if you don't want to do that, you could always hover around here up above to stop the recording, like this. Okay. And now that I'm done recording, you see here in my PowerPoint slide that it has been, my screen recording is inserted immediately here in my Microsoft PowerPoint. And I'm not just limited, we're not just limited to using screen recording within PowerPoint. I could right click on it and go to Save Media As. Then I could save this screen right here. I could save the screen recording as an MP4 if I want to use it somewhere. or elsewhere. So pretty awesome functionality built directly into PowerPoint. Okay, moving on, we have merging shapes or merge shapes. So after selecting multiple shapes, how do we do it now? Like, how do we merge? On this slide, I have two different shapes, circle and square. I'm going to pull my square and I'm going to position it just right over here over my circle. And next I'm going to select both shapes. Again, select both shapes. I see the shape format option on my ribbon. Click. Let's click into that now. And we see there are many different ways that we can merge shapes. Go right here, merge shapes. There's a drop down. And I'll quickly explain each of it. So we can do a union. We can do a union like here, where I bring them together into one shape. And then I can combine, where it leaves out the intersecting portion. Next, fragment, where it creates three separate shapes. Next, intersect, where it just keeps the intersecting portion. Last one is to subtract the second shape from the first one. To see how this works, I'm going to go with fragment. Okay. All right. So in fragment, I have three different shapes. I'm going to remove this portion right here and delete that. Okay. And I'm going to pull out this portion of my circle. So this is a neat technique. In the presentation that I have this pie that maybe represents all of our sales, or it doesn't have to be sales. If I just want, or you just want to point out this portion of the circle, then you can emphasize this in your presentation. Okay, so you can use that as a technique. This is just like one technique. You can do much more when it comes to merging shapes. So that's useful too. Next is we have for the fourth Microsoft PowerPoint feature. Did you know that Microsoft PowerPoint already has a bunch of stock images? Minsan, naghahanap pa tayo like other websites with poor resolution, meron pang watermarks, and you don't need to worry about that, because here you can insert stock images. Go to insert, click pictures, and within pictures there's an option for stock images. Click, and here you can now search for images, icons, cut out people, stickers. You can also insert videos and illustrations with high resolution. Okay, so I'll go over and insert this. Okay, let's wait for it to download. Okay, and now we see it right here. There you go. So we have this high resolution photo that is inserted onto my slide directly from PowerPoint. Okay, what else? Fifth, selecting an image and removing the photo background. So how do we do that? So here I have a beautiful picture of a hot air balloon, and I want to remove the background. So select the photo and go to picture format. Up here, picture format. Far left, you'll see remove background. So click on that option to remove the background, and of course mark areas to remove. As you can see, yung the purple area, na-touch on yun ng PowerPoint. They already know that that's the area to be removed. But we can still see little spaces that needs to be removed, of course. So click Mark Areas to Remove. And then I could just highlight this section of the image, okay, that I wanted to remove, like that. And this now, when you're done, don't forget to keep changes. And this now does its best job at removing all the background. So if it's just basic tweaks, no need to go to Photoshop. Again, a basic tweaks, right? Sixth, we have under the shape format, this is called aligning objects together. Example, you're in a hurry and you need to finish a presentation, but you have a lot of objects, you have a lot of images inside your presentation that you inserted, and you want to align it, you want to align everything. So first off, highlight all the shapes. Okay. Now that we have highlighted all of the shapes, click on Shape Format again here on top. And on the right side, we have the option to align. And right side, option to align. So first, click Top Align. Top Align or Align Top first. Align Top. Okay, there. Now I see all the items are top aligned, and next click on Align again. And we want to distribute horizontally to remove these big gaps. So please click Distribute Horizontally. Again, there's many options here that you can choose from depending how you want to align the objects. But right now, I want to remove the gaps, the big gaps, and distribute horizontally. All right. There you go, all top aligned, and the spacing between each item is now identical. It looks very nice, and we saved up time. Okay. So that's it for this. Again, some of the best practices. Okay. What else? A quick tip to finish. We're now in presentation mode. I clicked on presentation mode, right? So if you press Fn plus F1 key, again, press Fn plus F1 key, nasa presentation mode ka na, because of course that what we're doing, you're going to present the slide. So here's the presentation mode. And this will show you all the different shortcuts that you can use when you're presenting in PowerPoint. You can take a look through all this and see which ones, which will be most valuable to you as a presenter, because we have different techniques. So there you go. But for this, just an example, I'll show you if you press B. Okay, if you press B, okay, going back, you press B, it doesn't show. Okay, I'm sorry, there's a technical problem. Let me do it again. Press 1. Let's try CTRL-I. Okay. All right, so let me start on that. Sorry, for CTRL-I, my pointer became a highlighter. Okay, and then CTRL-L could bring up a laser pointer when you're presenting. CTRL-P for pen, it becomes a pen and you can annotate. Okay, let's try again pressing B. There you go. Good thing it worked. So press B, it blocks and blocks the screen in case of emergencies that you wanna or you need to black out the screen when presenting, and press W to change the slide to white. Okay, so those are just few of the examples. There's a lot more that you can see when you press F and plus F1 key. So there are all of these different tools that we have while presenting, depending on you na lang as a presenter. Okay, so that's it. I'll close the presentation mode and stop sharing my screen. So, all right, so there's many more that you can, there's many more in Microsoft. This is just, let me stop sharing. Okay.
Ayan. Thank you, Teacher
Sorry.
Debbie. Hello.
Thank you.
Ayan.
Did I stop sharing now? Okay, not
Yes,
yet.
yes,
Yes?
tapos na.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Sorry. Thank you.
Ayan. So, habang nagde-demo ka, Teacher Debbie, napuno yung comment section natin. Ayan, sabi dito ng mga teachers natin. Unahin ko na si Teacher Nerissa. Sabi niya, amazing. Super useful po sa COT. Tapos sabi naman ni Teacher Enrico Esplana, sabi niya may pang LAC session na daw siya. Ayan. And then, meron din dito si Teacher Marilu. Sabi naman niya, wow, I only know super basic about PowerPoint. But now, I'm very delighted to know more about how I could explore the vast content of PowerPoint application. Thank you so much, Ma'am Debbie. Kayo po ba dyan, Teacher Mardy? Meron po ba? Na
Oo,
na-miss out?
meron. Ito naman kay Teacher Christine Bacordo. Hashtag TechTalk MS PowerPoint demo is very helpful nowadays in teaching. Thank you, Teacher Deb. I especially like the merge shape. I can use it in my math subject lessons. At ito pa, meron pa ulit. From Miss Teacher Maria Rosario. Teacher Debbie, how to be you po? Ang galing. Thanks for the tips. How to be you nga po, Miss Deb. Teacher Deb.
Oo nga. What's the secret, Teacher
What the
Debbie?
secret? At ito pa, meron pa galing kay Teacher Annette Salonga. Thank you so much, Teacher Debbie. It is now easier to make PowerPoint that I can use for my online class. I am a grade 1 teacher and I need to be creative for the learners to pay more attention, especially maikli attention span nila. Mas makulay, mas masaya. Salamat talaga yung sa remove background. Natutunan ko din sa wakas. Thank you talaga. O, di ba?
May pahabol din si Teacher Lala. Sabi niya, wow, dami ko natutunan. Natutunang bago. Salamat. O, di ba? Salamat.
Salamat.
Ayan, so teachers, ang dami ninyo talaga matututunan kay Teacher Debbie. At hindi lang po ito yung pang ilan na ba to, Teacher Debbie? Third time? Second time? Second time. Hindi lang ito yung second time. At marami pa pong susunod na digitals session si Teacher Debbie. So, if I were you teachers, every Saturday, abangan nyo na si Teacher Debbie. Mukhang nangangamoy fans club na to, Teacher Mardy.
Oo nga eh.
Debbinatics na to.
Debbinatics. Debified, ganyan. Hashtag Debified. O, diba?
Hashtag Debified nga dyan, teachers. Ayun, ang dami pa mga nagpapahabol na comments dito. Ang sabi nila, simulan ko na ulit kay Teacher Ate Ana. May screen recording din pala talaga ang PowerPoint. Now ko lang nalaman. Thank you for sharing. O, di ba? Ang dami yung nadidiscover dito. Mga teachers, mga nandyan na pala. Tapos hindi nyo alam, meron pala talaga si Microsoft at si PowerPoint.
Bigla ko lang naisip, no, Teacher Zari, nasa harap mo na, pero kung saan ka pa tumitingin. May
diba?
PowerPoint na eh.
Tapos
Buti
naghanap
ka
ka
pa sa iba. Ayan.
Now you know, teachers, di ba? Tapos sabi pa dito ni Teacher Francie. Ayan, may nag-debified na. Thank you, Teacher Bernadette.
Thank you, Teacher
May fanatics na tayo. Tapos,
ayan.
Teacher Francie, sabi niya, ganun po pala, nagkakaroon ng laser, highlighter, at pen sa PowerPoint. Diba? Surprising. Amazing. Very useful in our online class reporting. It really is. Pre-service teacher here from PSU Pangasinan. Meron ka ng fans club sa Pangasinan, Teacher Debbie. Hashtag Debified.
Teacher Debbie, pwede ka na daw Miss Universe 2021. 1 year in the making.
Oh my God.
Umabot na tayo sa Miss Universe.
levels.
Diba?
Wow.
Out of this world ka na din, Teacher Debbie. First time na magkakaroon ng Microsoft trainer sa outer space. Sa buong universe. Ayan. So, ang dami pa dito. Teka lang. Isa-isa lang, teachers. Mahina ka laban.
Pero Teacher Zari, dahil 'di ba nakinig sila din sa mga itinuro ni Teacher Debbie, meron silang makukuhang
Oo nga pala. Muntik ko na makalimutan. O, di ba? Sobrang na-excite ako sa mga Debinatics natin eh. At dahil nga dyan, gaya nga na napasimulan na ni Teacher Mardy. Teachers, ayan, since nakinig kayo, again, I would like to say thank you, Miss Debbie. At sa muli, it was our pleasure to hear all the sharing of all our speakers have shared with us. Now, in addition, alam ko po last week, Teacher Mardy, Teacher Debbie, last week, parang may nag-mention ito sa ating, at may naghanap dito sa ating comment section eh. So, since we hear you, we are providing you MIE certificates for all of you who are watching this session. Kahit kayo po, mga nanonood sa ating recording, pwede po kayong makapag-redeem ng ating MIE certificate or yung tinatawag nating Microsoft Innovative Educator Certificate just using the redemption code na ibibigay namin sa inyo, which will be shared in a bit. Here we go. So, ang MIE code na nagagamitin po ninyo to redeem your MIE certificate is this one. T-FHF 5A6821. Teachers, it's all in caps lock. So, don't forget that. Jot down nyo na yan, teachers. Sulatin nyo na yan. And if ever you are asking, paano po namin to mariredeem? Paano po namin makukuha, ma-generate yung certificate natin? You can scan this QR code that you are seeing in your screen para makita nyo po yung proseso on how to redeem your certificate if you are not that familiar yet. Because I believe some of you already have your MIE certificate and you're already familiar on how to do it. So, para dun sa mga hindi at hindi pa makapag-scan ng QR code natin, bigyan ko lang kayo ng quick walkthrough, no? So, for our MIE certificate, once you get this redemption code, you can just go to www.education.microsoft.com. Ayan, kung meron na kayong account doon sa website na iyon, you can just sign in. Kung wala naman, napakadali. Just create your own new account for Microsoft Education Center. And then once you are signed in, hanapin nyo lang po yung parang profile picture dyan. Tapos hanapin nyo po yung redeem code na tab. And then once you click that, just enter the MIE code. Then from there po, it will walk you through na on how to redeem your certificate and generate your certificate. And through the process din po and through this QR code, makikita nyo rin po dyan yung mga link na makakapagturo sa inyo or makaka-help sa inyo kung paano ayusin naman if ever nagkaroon ng misspelling sa certificate nyo o kaya hindi nag-reflect ng tama yung pangalan sa mga certificate ninyo. Okay, teachers, I hope that helps. And kung hindi pa kayo makapag-scan ng QR code ngayon, screenshot nyo lang, then scan nyo later, pwede naman. Or balikan nyo po ang ating recording later on. Ayan, Teacher Mardy, Teacher Debbie. So that's how you can get your MIE codes sa ating, for our session for today. Next week, malay nyo, balik po kayo. Bibigyan po namin kayo ulit ng MIE code. Yan, dahil sa mga sumusuporta sa amin every Saturday, syempre, you deserve a certificate too. Am I correct, Teacher Mardy?
Oo naman, Teacher Zari. So, lalong-lalo na ngayon, open na yung MIEE, 'di ba, na application. So, malay nyo, kakakuha nyo ng MIE codes dito, pero meron na kayong credits para makapag-apply. Kasi 'di ba isa yan sa mga kailangan na requirement na meron kayong at least 3 hours na training na nakakuha kayo ng MIE code. And then, may mga iba pa naman na requirements. So, ito na, may isa na kayong makukuha, machi-check sa list if ever maging interested kayo para magkaroon ng MIEE. Diba, Teacher Zai?
Yan, totoo yan, Teacher Mardy. And And teachers, iba pa po ito sa mga certificates na magigain ninyo after the TechTalks series. Meron pa po kayo mga certificate na ma-receive later on, which will be explained and reminded by our DepEd representative later on. Okay, so Teacher Mardy, so to award our certificates again for our beloved speakers for today. First, we would like to invite po ulit ang ating mga speakers. Teacher Debbie is here. Sir Francis, we invite you again to be with us so we can award you your certificate. And of course, speaking of awarding po, may we call on also Teacher Madge to award our certificates po for our speakers for this session. Ayan. Welcome back, Sir Francis. Ayan.
Yes, hello. Good morning again, beautiful ladies. Sa ating sobrang interactive, engaging, at awesome host natin for today's Tech Talks. And again, we would like to extend our appreciation sa inyong na-share this morning sa ating Sir Francis Hernandez, laging nandyan na nakasupport sa mga programa ng DepEd EdTech Unit, at sa ating another speaker, si Miss Devi, na naku, may fans club na ngayon. Congratulations po. Alam kong marami kang na-inspire na teachers kasi very practical ang inyong mga na-share na magagamit ng ating mga teachers. And with that, as a way to express our appreciation po by this token, this certificate, I will award this po sa ating minamahal na mga resource speakers. So let me read the citation. Republika ng Pilipinas, Department of Education, Information and Communications Technology Services, DepEd Complex, Meralco Avenue, Pasig City, award this certificate of appreciation. This certificate is presented to Mr. Francis Hernandez, co-owner of Dentes Technologies Incorporated, for sharing his valuable knowledge as guest speaker during the Tech Talks for All Days, Bridging the Careers of Today Towards Tomorrow webinar conducted by the ICTS Educational Technology Unit on the 15th of May 2021. Given this 15th day of May 2021 in DepEd Central Office, Meralco Avenue, Pasig City, Philippines, with our OUA memo number 00-0421-0136, signed by our head of the ICTS-EdTech Unit, Mr. Mark Anthony CC, our Director for ICTS, Mr. Abram Y.C. Abanil, and our Undersecretary for Administration, Mr. Alain Del B. Pasqua. Congratulations, Sir Francis. Thank you so much. And same citation goes to our master trainer from Odentes Technologies Incorporated, Miss Debbie Kalingacion. Tama po ba yung pronunciation ko? Or may mali?
Okay lang, sir.
Kalingacion. Okay lang po yun. Ayan. Ayan, so pasensya lang.
Yes.
Take two tayo, sabi ni Direk. So this, we would like to again to award the certificate of appreciation to Miss Debbie Kalingacion, our master trainer from Odentes Technologies Incorporated, for sharing her valuable knowledge as guest speaker during our Tech Talks for All Days, Bridging the Careers of Today Towards Tomorrow webinar conducted by the ICTS-EdTech Unit on the 15th of May 2021. Given this 15th day of May 2021 in DepEd Central Office, Meralco Avenue, Pasig City, Philippines, with OUA memo number 00-0421-0136, signed by our head of the EdTech Unit, Mr. Mark Anthony CC, our Director for the ICTS, Mr. Abram Y.C. Abanil, and our Undersecretary for Administration, Mr. Alain Del B. Pasqua. So congratulations po, Miss Debbie, Sir Francis, and we look forward po na makasama namin po kayo sa mga susunod pa nating webinars. And thank you so much. I know how very appreciative ang ating mga teachers po, ang ating mga learners na nakinig at nanood sa ating Tech Talks this morning. At very other than timely, relevant sa kanila inyong na-share, ay talagang gaganahan silang umattend ng ating mga webinars, other than the certification, the introspection nga na ganito pala kapag may certification, ganito pala ang pwede mangyari at itong mga na-share ni Ms. Debbie ay talagang may apply ito agad-agad. So with that, maraming salamat po Ms. Debbie and Sir Francis.
Okay, I think Teacher Mardy, you're on mute.
Thank you then, Sir Madge, for this certificate of appreciation. So thank you very much po sa ating DepEd partners. Sir Francis, do you have any po last words before we end our session this morning?
Okay. So the last words would be again, thank you for attending our morning session together with DepEd and Microsoft and our guest speakers, especially Mr. Paulo Balinas and Mr. Yuming Chin of Eventis Search Asia. We'd like to thank them as well, and again to give to inspire our teachers and our upcoming graduates this school year. So take time to invest in education. Okay, that's number one. Number two is if you also have like extra like sorry also if you have extra or spare budget, maybe you can also allocate it for certification. Thank you, and that's all from my end.
How about you, Teacher Debbie?
Happy weekend!
Yun na yun.
Yes,
Yun na yun.
let's rest. For
Ayun.
DJ tools, yes, there's a lot more, but you can go ahead and explore the tools on your own time po. And I hope you enjoyed Microsoft DJ tools for today. Thank you.
Ayan. So again, maraming salamat sa ating mga speakers, at I would like to say thank you also para sa co-host ko, 'di ba? Ang dami natin napagdaanan ngayong araw, Teacher Mardy. At ang dami nagpapasalamat din ng mga viewers natin na ang dami nilang natutunan, enlightenments, inspiration, mga skills na nakuha nila ngayong araw. So, Teacher Mardy, I would like to invite them again for our next week's session naman. So, teachers, educators, whoever you are watching to us right now, iniimbitahan po namin kayo, hindi pa po ito ang huling pagkakataon na pwede kayong matuto. Alright? So, meron pa rin po kaming session next week. So, we hope to see you there again. And we hope na makasama namin kayo ulit sa pakikinig sa aming bagong set of our speakers. Diba, Teacher Mardy?
Tama. So, next week po ulit, magkita-kita tayo 9 o'clock. At huwag niyo rin pong kakalimutan yung ating afternoon session, yung MIA Tech Talks, para po naman sa inyong 1 p.m. session ngayong araw na tong Saturday. Tuloy-tuloy lang po talaga ang pagkuha ng bagong mga impormasyon,
Kaalaman.
mga
Yan,
bagong
oo.
kaalaman. Sabi nga kanina, wag po natin kakalimutan. Learn, unlearn, and relearn. Yun talaga dapat ang ginagawa nating mga educators tayo para maging change agent tayo. Dahil hindi tayo pwedeng magpahuli sa mga makabagong changes, sa mga evolution, lalong-lalo na sa technology. So, dapat talagang bilang mga guro, isa tayo sa mga nangunguna, frontliners, para
Totoo
sa
yan.
ikauunlad ng edukasyon ng mga batang itinuturuan natin.
Yes.
Maraming salamat!
Maraming salamat po sa lahat. See you next week!
See you!